Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is everyone? Alright, so first of all, as usual, can you guys hear me? That's the main thing. If you guys can hear me, alhamdulillah. And if you guys can't hear me, then a'udhu billah. So just let me know inshallah in the comments if you guys can hear me. Idris Shah, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ahlan wa sahlan. Sangayerur. And Nawfal Al-Azizi, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, ahlan wa sahlan. Could you talk about Taraweeh? For example, have you led Taraweeh differences between UK and other places, historically or in general? Brother Nawfal from Breda. Okay, so just once you guys have let me know, inshallah, then I will start inshallah. So just put in the comments if you guys can hear me. I'm just looking at the questions that you guys have sent. So as I mentioned before, and as always, if you want to ask questions anonymously, curiouscat.me / Zaman 82. Wa alaikum assalam. Nasima, is that how I pronounce your name? Is it Nasima or Nasima? Ya Allah. Okay, so can you guys hear? Is the sound working? Ya Allah. Okay, right, I got the questions. So let me see if we can just have this here somehow. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Yes, excellent. You can hear, yeah. Alright, so let's start then. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So first question. Okay, do the hadith that talk about deriving pleasure from opposite genders, voice, pictures, etc. as being zina of ears and eyes, etc. only applies to sexual pleasure, or also when you like listening to someone's voice just because you're in love with them and they sound cute and not for sexual arousal? Alright, so let's have a look at this question then. So first of all, in Islam, the thing you have to remember is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created or sent down to us the Quran. And the Quran is the ultimate guidance for Muslims, as we believe. The guidance, it tells us how to live our lives, it tells us what things we stay away from, and so forth. So one of the things the Quran tells us about is sexual intercourse if it's done with the wrong person. Yeah, that's which we call zina, fornication. And also it tells us the things that lead to it as well. So we have to be very cautious and careful of things that lead to this. So this is why the Prophet ﷺ, the ayats as well, have told us about guarding of the gazes when a person looks with lust, has lustful thoughts. And likewise the narrations mention about fornication, the eyes fornicating, the hands fornicating, the feet fornicating. And in the end of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says that all of this is then confirmed by the action, meaning if the action takes place after all of this, so a guy looks at let's say a woman and then he goes towards her and all these things, so if the action is done in the end, fornication, then it means all of these things now are going to be like they've done their job basically. So this is why if a person looks at someone with lust, or even listens to in lust is the main thing basically. And this is why you get some narrations which even talk about things like using the water of another opposite gender if it's going to cause arousal as well. So to avoid this, if a person was going to listen to someone because it sounds cute, whatever that means, then there seems to be some scope for that, like permissibility for that. But again, if a person's unsure, then istafti qalbak wala aftak al-muftun. that a person should ask themselves, look, is this going to lead to something bad? Right? If you believe it's going to lead to something bad, then you avoid it. Otherwise, I mean, nowadays a lot of people send around small little videos, clips of, you know, things that are just strange around the world happening. So I think the question is probably talking about that. So, I mean, deriving pleasure, if it's sexual pleasure, lustful pleasure, then no, it's not permissible. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Can you please tell me how the Haram of Mecca boundaries were defined and who defined them? And is there also a Haram of Medina? Are prayers towards prayer rewards multiplied in Haram of Mecca and Medina both? Okay, so when we talk about, so there's basically, there's two things you have to remember, or three things. One is, imagine this is my hand, yeah? So imagine here is Mecca, okay? Here is Mecca, right? See there? Here is Mecca. And over here, let's say, is Medina, right? The tip of my finger, just above there is Medina. So from here, over here, all the way just below Medina, from here all the way, so imagine like my hand, all the way, like a kind of like a cone shape. All of this area is known as the miqat. Miqat meaning a place that you're not allowed to enter without the state of ihram. So when people say, you know, if you've ever been Umrah or Hajj, and they say to you, right, now start doing your ihram. So that's what they mean by saying you can't cross these borders if you're intending to go for Hajj and Umrah. You can't cross these borders without going into the state of ihram out of like reverence and honor for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So meeting Allah's house, etc. Then inside of this area, this bottom area around Mecca, is an area of vicinity, and I think it kind of works out to be something like about 3 miles or so. It's like a 3 mile sort of radius kind of thing. And that is basically, which is known as the Haram, right? So the Haram. So the Haram area is like a very sanctified area. In that area, you're not allowed to do certain things. Like you can't kill animals there. You can't like hunt animals there. You can't just for no reason start pulling trees, branches, and breaking them. Right? There's like rules and regulations that you have to follow. Now, what are the limits of this? I don't know the limits. Yeah, there are narrations that mention the limits, and we know. Like I can't tell you exactly on a map where the limits are, but if you ask the locals all know, right? So they have in Saudi Arabia, they have these kind of like posts which tells you now you're entering the Haram vicinity, the Haram vicinity. So this is the Haram vicinity. It actually starts, the closest part of the Haram you can actually go to Masjid Aisha. It's called Tan'im, Masjid Aisha, and then you kind of like have this circumference or this kind of this sort of like radius around it that you can actually see on those maps. So yeah, that's the Haram. So I don't know the exact, I haven't kind of like looked into it. So you can ask nowadays and they'll tell you. And this is something that was set by the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet ﷺ, he gave some boundaries, some markers. He said from here to here, and from here to here, like that. So those today are set, and they've been set from 1,400 years, and then that's how the Haram kind of like goes. Okay, so, and is there also a haram of Medina? Are prayers multiplied in Haram of Mecca? So when they say Haram of Medina, Masjid Aqsa is also called a Haram as well. It's like a sanctified place. But the rules of Mecca are not the same as the rules of Medina, not the same as Mecca, according to majority of the scholars. There are some scholars who say no, Medina also has like these special laws and rules which apply to it, like Mecca do, and others say no, they don't. Majority say no, they don't. The kind of things you have to just kind of be aware of is, obviously, if you go to Medina, you should, out of respect for the Prophet ﷺ, show some respect, but you won't necessarily be sinful, or there won't be any legal sort of like consequences for your actions there. In Mecca, there may be. And is there reward? Yes. Mecca has reward. The Prophet ﷺ has said your rewards are multiplied. In some narrations 100,000, some narrations 50,000, and Medina also has mentioned 10,000, 1,000. The rewards are multiplied for praying your salat there. And that's it basically. Okay, let's check out some of what you guys have said. All right. So, MP, mashallah. Yo, Ustad, how's life? Alhamdulillah. How was your week? Mashallah, my week was very nice, very good, excellent week. I didn't have any car crashes this week, or my car wasn't hit this week, so it's a very nice week for me. Okay, so let's answer Nofal's question. So Nofal says, could you talk about Taraweeh? For example, have you led Taraweeh? No, I have not led Taraweeh. I am not a Hafiz of Quran, so usually the Hafiz of the Quran leads Taraweeh. Difference between UK and other places, so I wouldn't be able to tell that. Historically, or in general, I'm not too sure about that. So it's best to ask someone who's a Hafiz. They'll probably be able to tell you about, praying in different places. So I wouldn't be the best person to ask about that. Okay, Nasima saying another live class is going on. We'll join soon, mashallah. Excellent. All right, Sidi Ahmed, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Sidi Ahmed is saying, Hamida, wa alaikum assalam, mashallah. From Africa, Sidi Ahmed is saying, what's the ruling on child born without wedlock? Who is right to responsible for the child? Is he right to inherit or responsible? So a child that is born out of wedlock is considered to be is not considered to be attributed to the father. So the father is not responsible, legally responsible. Obviously, morally, that's something separate. As in, morally, should the father be doing something, then yes. But legally, the courts will not recognize the child as being his. So therefore, the courts will not impose on him any sort of like specific rules regarding that. Okay, so that's to do with that. Okay, and is he the right to inherit? So he won't be able to inherit from the father. He inherits from the mother, and the father can't inherit from him. The biological father. The thing you have to remember is, if let's say for example there's a woman and she's not married and she fornicates with a man, the child will be attributed to her by law. So the law will recognize the child as hers. The father will not have any sort of legal rulings or sort of responsibilities for that child. But if the woman is married to another man and she fornicates with another man, that child that's born, if the husband of this woman doesn't negate the child will be considered to be the legal child of this husband. Even though he's not the biological child, the courts will recognize him, so he'll be the one that's responsible. So that's basically. Okay, next. Assalamu alaikum. If someone is doing one's kafara, fasting 60 days, and after completing a few, a person accidentally opens his fast before Maghrib adhan, since that one fast is invalid and will require qada, will this person have to restart his kafara fast from beginning? Yeah, good question this is. Yeah, in this case, according to Hanafis, he would have to restart the fasts again. I mean, I haven't really kind of looked into this masala in great detail, so I wouldn't be able to kind of tell you if there's any sort of difference of opinion in the Hanafi school in the other opinions, the ghayr Zahir riwayah. But yes, the main Zahir riwayah opinion would be that yes, he would have to, because any sort of breaking in the 60 days would result in. Actually, I'll have to look into this one. So what I'll do is I'll put a note on this one, and then inshallah let me just put a note on this one, and inshallah I'll look into this one because this is an interesting one. Okay, that's done. All right, next. Assalamu alaikum. What is the ruling of wearing clothes with pictures of living beings on it? So wearing clothes with living beings on there. So clothes with living beings, basically, as in the Hanafis say, if the image is small, like if a person was to look at it, they can't work it out what it is immediately. It takes time to kind of figure out that it's an image. Then that would be allowed. But if it's something which clearly can be seen as an image, and if a person was to be praying salat in there, that salat would not be would be considered makruh. Yeah, it would be considered to be highly disliked to pray, and would render the person's salat without reward. But just wearing it generally, there wouldn't necessarily be prohibition on there. There wouldn't necessarily be prohibition if it was considered to be like a clothing of the society. Society wears that clothes. Yeah, there wouldn't be like a necessary. But the issue that would arise would be in salat. That's the only kind of thing that comes to mind. Okay, next. Sidi Ahmed, also leaving those you responsible for and head of Islamic knowledge, is it allowed? Also leaving those you responsible for and head of Islamic knowledge. I don't understand. Don't understand that one, Sidi Ahmed. Okay, FIFA, how should we view... Okay, does it keep stopping, the internet? Does the internet keep freezing? Because on my side, it looks like there seems to be like a freezing issue here. You guys got any streaming problems? Slightly lagging, yeah? Tahmid, where you been, bro? Okay, let me just try to change the connection. Okay, so how is that now? Is that any better? Or is it the same? Okay, I think it's getting better. Is it lagging now? Okay, I'm not sure exactly. Okay, 1 second, let me just... Okay, it's fine now, yeah? Okay, excellent. Brilliant. Alright, so let's have a look at what some of you guys are saying. So FIFA, how should we view dodgy stuff written in books like Bashti Zewer and Faizi Amal? I mean, are you talking about Fazaili Amal? Okay, so if a person, I mean, for a lay person, it's very difficult to be able to differentiate between what is like correct. Yeah, so if you have an article, or you have nowadays with Facebook posts, fake news, information that is not authentic, you can say. How do we deal with those? I would say it's very difficult for a layperson to be able to differentiate between what is correct and what is incorrect, right? So this is why I think that the layperson shouldn't be reading things without getting it verified from someone. And if they do come across something which they are genuinely unsure about, they need to get it checked out. And ideally trying to get it checked out by the author themselves, or someone who understands the author's writing. Sometimes what can happen is you might get someone who, let's say someone's written a book, and then you might get someone who doesn't like the author, right? Or for some has some sort of an issue and is like reading into the lines, or maybe overthinking something, and they criticize a particular author for whatever reason they're criticizing them for. And then people will think that author is useless, that you shouldn't read his book, or his book is wrong. Whereas the case might not be like that. And you've had this in the past with many authors, because there was some sort of a jealousy going on between, let's say, rival scholars or whoever. You get this kind of thing where people used to say, don't read this guy's book, or this thing that he's got in there is unauthentic. At the end of the day, something being authentic and something unauthentic, it goes down to ijtihad, basically. Because something being authentic, sometimes it's categorically we know it's authentic, but sometimes it can be like maybe there's difference of opinion in this issue. One scholar believes that this issue is totally wrong, and another scholar believes that there's scope in there, there's permissibility. So this is why we've got to be careful. So for example, like Bashti Zevar, some people might have some grudges against Mawlana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, or maybe they're just like not really kind of reading what he's saying and understanding how he's coming across, right? So this is why, you know, you have this sort of like group of people that might say don't read his books, or Fazail Amal in that case, where someone might say don't read Fazail Amal, it's got a story in there of something that's fabricated or made up, etc. So this is why I would say always get it checked out by reliable scholars, and if they say to you don't read it, then fine, don't read it. There's always other books to read. Okay, Idris Shah, Ustad, can you please explain the concept of ta'zir bil mal? Yeah, so ta'zir bil mal, I mean, it depends. What are you referring to? Ta'zir bil mal, like in what sort of like context? Are you talking about in trade? Are you talking about in bodily harm? So for instance, like if let's say someone crashed into your car and you went to the judge, and the judge decided to set a financial penalty, a monetary penalty on that particular individual, that's called ta'zir bil mal. So in other words, having a fine, setting a fine or a monetary penalty on someone, is that what you're talking about? So if you can give some more context about what you mean, then inshallah we can look into that. Okay, next question in Curious Cat. If someone is in the ruling of ma'zur, meaning their wudu keeps breaking, and their wudu which they do in the start of the prayer time is nullified with the exiting of prayer time, how will such a person pray in the time after sunrise? Say they went to pray Ishraq, will they need to do wudu after Fajr exits? And will this wudu last until the exit of Zuhr time? If no, other nullified. So this is a very good question. So basically, imagine there's someone who is continuously breaking their wudu. So if they're continuously breaking their wudu, then how can they pray salat? Right? So the Prophet ﷺ, he said about this particular individual, he said, whoever has a nosebleed, whoever like is regarding a woman, whoever continuously bleeds, right? A woman who has continuous discharge of blood, irregular bleeding, all she has to do is just do wudu for every salat. And the scholars derive from that the ruling for people who have continuous nosebleeds, or someone who has non-stop urine. Let me just drink some of my moleti. So this is some what do you call it? Some licorice. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. It's been helping my neck, and as you can tell, my voice is getting better as well. My throat. So going back to this masala then. So if there's a person whose wudu continuously breaks, then what happens is, because Allah does not burden a person more than they can bear. So we believe that if a person is continuously having wudu breaking, then what they can do is perform one wudu for, let's say, dhuhr, and that wudu will last all the way till asr. And then for asr, they do one wudu, and then that wudu will last all the way till maghrib, even though it continuously breaks because of that one sort of excuse that they have, right? So this is why this ruling of ma'dhur, it continues from one salat to the next salat. However, there's a difference of opinion amongst the Hanafis as to exactly when does this expire. So let's say you done it for dhuhr. So dhuhr started at 12. So at 12 you did wudu. So that's going to last you all the way till asr. And let's say asr is at 3 o'clock. So it lasts you till 3. And then you do it for asr, and then it's going to last you all the way till maghrib, and so forth. So the problem comes in fajr, because let's say you do your wudu at 6 o'clock in the morning for fajr. I mean, you don't have to do it at 6, but I'm just giving you an example. And it will last until when? Will it last all the way till dhuhr, or will it last only until? So some of the Hanafis say it will last all the way till dhuhr, right? Because it lasts all the way until the next salat enters. But other Hanafis say no, it only lasts until the salat ends, right? So this is the position of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. They last until and Imam Muhammad as well. That it lasts until the salat ends. So Fajr ends with sunrise. So if the sun rises and you want to pray some nafal after that, you'll have to do the wudu again, and that wudu will last you all the way until Asr, because it lasts all the way until a salat ends. So because from Fajr all the way there's no other salat ending, the next salat to end will be Dhuhr. Right, so that's that. Okay, let's just check out some questions here. Okay, guest number 1, personal question kinda. MashaAllah, you have great hair. What's your routine? What do you apply, if anything? So, guys, you all know the answer to this, yeah? Yeah, what do I apply in my hair? So basically what I do is I shampoo my hair once every 2 weeks. So I do wash my hair, but I don't shampoo. I shampoo it once every 2 weeks. And the one reason for that is because every time I shampoo my hair becomes very silky and smooth, right? And then it becomes like kind of, that kind of, when someone has electric shock and their hair like goes all like that. So it kind of becomes wispy. And then if I try to put a hat on my head, or if I just try to kind of just have my hair just open like that, it doesn't fall, the hair doesn't fall down. It's kind of like just feels a bit funny, right? So then I have to put oil into it. So I wash the hair like about once a week or once 2 weeks, and I use something called tea gel because I get dandruff with other shampoos. It just gives me scalp dryness. And oils, I rarely use kind of oils in my hair. I've got some oils I do use. I rarely use them, and if I do, I use something like baby oil. I don't use olive oil because it makes my scalp a bit hot and it's sticky, and I don't like that feeling. And that's it basically. Yeah, so that's my hair, as you can see. And I think it's just hereditary. Some people just have it in their genes, long hair, and and some people just don't. So I think it's just hereditary. Some people have hair that they can manage, and some people don't. Wasiq wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Wasiq muhtaram. Okay, why now? Do mentally disabled people receive their share in inheritance? Who will look after? Yes, they receive their share. Every human being receives their share basically. And the government, like if there was an Islamic government, the Islamic government would appoint a person to be a trustee of that wealth until that and could spend on the individual. And if they got better, the money would be handed over to them. Yeah, so or the family could choose a trustee. Are women allowed to do 2 ponytails on either side of their head? They're called pigtails. Astaghfirullah, pigtails. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Yes, they can. Yeah, so women can do anything they want with the hair. I mean, they have the hair, so obviously, means of beautification vary. So some people might have two plaits, some have 3 plaits, some people have lots of braids in their hair. Okay, let's just look at this question. Are Salafis from Ahlul Sunnah, and can we pray behind them? Okay, so I think this is a kind of like common question that many people ask. The thing is, Salafi is a manhaj. This is a approach in understanding of theology, aqidah. This is what Salafi is like. The aqidah is based upon the aqidah of the early people. And this was in contrast, this was like a movement that was sort of like made popular in contrast to what was known as the Ilmul Kalam movement. So let me just give you a little background to this aqidah issue. In the days of the Sahaba, when the Quran was revealed to the Sahaba, we don't find people discussing differences in aqidah that much. Yes, you might find like certain issues that were discussed amongst the Sahaba. For instance, like one of the questions that's raised is between Aisha radiallahu anha and Ibn Abbas, did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam see Allah? So Aisha radiallahu anha said no, Ibn Abbas said yes. What did they exactly mean? There's like a dispute in their wording. And then you have things like can the dead hear? Can they not hear? So you have a dispute between some Sahaba. Some say yes they can, some say no they can't. So you have these kind of like peripheral sort of aqidah sort of points that were discussed. Main aqidah points, we don't find like a big difference of opinion in the main issues. Then what began to happen was, as time went by, the Arabic language became taught it became learnt. Now, when you have a language that's known naturally, like you're born and brought up with that language, lots of things that are said in the language, you accept them as they are. You understand exactly what is meant by them, and so you accept them. But when a language is taught, what it is, you have to even understand the basic kind of things that people say. So, for example, like, I mean, in English, it's a very common thing. Like, if you're born and brought up and someone says to you things like, I need a hand, I need a hand. So when we say I need a hand, we understand what I need a hand means. It means I need help. Like, we understand figurative speech. When people use figurative speech, I'm fed up of this. He's doing my head in. I've called you a dozen times. We don't mean like 12 times. Yeah, it could just mean a lot of times. I saw a couple of them. Could mean 3 of them, 4 of them, 2 of them. So we kind of use these words kind of very loosely in a fluid way. But when you learn the language, if you notice people who have come from abroad, and when they learn English, they learn it very precisely. So they say things, unless they kind of like really kind of acclimatized to how English people speak, you'll see them speaking very precisely, and they'll be using the words exactly, as they are kind of like structured. And you find it very rare that they'll be using how we use figurative speech. All right, and this is the same when people learn the Arabic language. So learning the Arabic language went through this kind of sort of like evolution, you can say, a change, and other languages began to influence. In fact, it became so diluted that by the year 150, the scholars, the Arabic sort of like linguists, they unanimously sort of like agreed that you can't use the language as evidence anymore. So what that meant was, before 150 Hijri, anyone like who spoke or wrote something, or a poem that was composed, could be used as evidence to prove something is part of Arabic language. Right? So from 150 before. So this is why we have to kind of like understand this language in that era. As for language which was after 150, it's become so diluted that even now, that French has affected Arabic in northern Africa. English has affected Arabic in certain sort of countries, and so now it's kind of like, it's not really evidence really. So that's why, if you really want to understand Arabic, you need to get yourself immersed in Arabic that was before 150. That's what you have to do. You have to kind of really immerse yourself. So this is why, going back to the Aqidah issue, this is why this Aqidah issues kind of came about. It was due to a foreign influence understanding of the Arabic language primarily. And I remember one of our teachers, Sheikh Anwar Badakhshani, he said that if it wasn't for this foreign influence of the Arabic language, he says you wouldn't have to study Arabic grammar, you wouldn't have to study balagha or these kind of things, because the language is just so naturally understood. So this is why we get these aqidah ikhtilafs later on. For example, things like, where is Allah? Right? Does Allah have a hand? How do you have to believe that hand to be? And so forth. Can we believe the hand to mean the help of Allah? Do we have to believe that Allah has a hand, but we don't know exactly the nature of that hand? Does he have a hand like another creation? So if you look at the kind of early scholars and the Salafi movement, you won't. There's differences between the Salafi understanding of the Aqidah and between the early scholars' understanding, right? So lots of scholars have written books on this as well. Al-Qawl al-Tamam fi Tafwidi. There's a recent scholar who's written a book, and it's got a lot of sort of like evidences for this as well. So generally, I mean, what I would say is, yes, Salafis are part of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in the sense that they are a group of people who are trying to believe in Allah, who believe in the kalima la ilaha illallah, who believe in the Quran, who are trying to follow the way of the early Salaf as best as possible. And they made some errors. I mean, they make some errors in the Aqidah, fine. But I would say that I know there are people who do not consider them Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, who consider them outside of that, but that's their own sort of like opinion on that, position on that. Okay, next. Does Islam allow the cloth used for shrouding a deceased Muslim to be in any color? I have seen video from Haramain in which deceased bodies are shrouded. Yes, according to Hanafis, it's ideal, it's preferred to be white, but if it's in a different color, then it's allowed as well. Is celebrating Valentine's Day a bid'ah? I mean, see, the term bid'ah has to do with aqidah, belief, right? Like, it has to be something Islam. If you believe something, like, imagine this is Islam, right? And Islam has 100 pieces in there. There's 100 pieces in Islam. So this is all Islam. And there's 100 pieces that make up Islam. So if you add any extra piece, this is innovation. Yeah. If you add any other piece, then it's innovation. And if you take away any other piece, then it's innovation. So basically, innovation, bid'ah, means that you add to Islam something that's not part of it, that you believe it to be part of it. You're innovating. And if you take away a part of Islam, which you believe is not part of Islam, this is also innovation as well. Right? So innovation are two ways. Adding something to Islam, believing it's part of Islam. And so does anyone believe Valentine's Day is part of Islam? I don't think so. Yeah, and if they did, yes, it's innovation. Likewise, does anyone believe that, for example, having Saturday and Sundays off from work is an innovation? No, they don't. Because they don't believe having Saturday and Sunday off is part of Islam. Right? So therefore, they're not innovating. So yeah, that's the answer to that one. Okay, let's have a look at this then. Okay, what I think Sidi Ahmad means is that if a person doesn't fulfill the rights of those he is responsible for and heads off to learn Islamic sciences, would that be okay? I mean, I think you guys know what the answer to that is, right? It's not okay. Someone has responsibilities, they should fulfill their responsibilities. Studying knowledge is only considered to be mustahab beyond your fard, your fara'id, your basic sort of like essentials of your Islam, like knowing how to pray salat, knowing how to fast, all these things. Everything else is just extra. It's just extra reward. You don't have to study, but your responsibilities are obligatory, so you have to. Yahya, assalamu alaikum. Do you provide online pre-recorded classes of any sort? Yes, I do. So if you go to our website, uruk.com. So uruk, UROOQ.com. UROOQ.com. And there's lots of courses I've got there. And if you check out the YouTube channel as well, there's lots of courses on the YouTube channel. You can check them out as well, inshallah. Tastes good, man. Tastes good, guys. All right, so to go and study and leave your family behind, you take care of. Yeah, no, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to. I mean, Islam is a very practical religion, and studying has a status, and taking care of those you're responsible for has a status. And we give priority to that which is more important. Assalamu alaikum. Is it okay that animals, plants evolved but not human? Is it okay to believe that animals and plants evolved? Yes. That's fine to believe, and as I believe that it's very plausible. It's very plausible that animals have evolved, plants have evolved, and human beings were created from Adam alayhi salam. And Adam was the first prototype, you can say, the first human that was created, and then from him came the rest of the progeny. There's a hadith about not wasting water if you're next to a river. However, in winters when showering you feel like standing under the hot water for a long time, would that be sinful then? Okay, good question. So the hadith mentions about doing wudu, that when you're doing wudu, don't waste water. And even if you're at a river, and the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned this to one of the Sahaba. So what does this mean then? So this doesn't mean that you can't do wudu at a river, or it doesn't mean that you can't have the tap on. Yes. What it means is when you're doing wudu and when you're doing these like ritual sort of cleanings, purification, then you got to be cautious of not overusing the water. And if a person wants to have a shower and they want to stand in the shower and they want to clean themselves, or they enjoy that feeling, I would say it doesn't come under wastage. It wouldn't come under israf, right? Because it's not something which is done in a ritual manner, right? In that kind of sort of way. What would come under wastage is if a person was to just take water and randomly just throw it at places or things that were not needed. Yeah, but this obviously is a need. You're washing yourself. But in wudu, you don't need to use too much water. Does that make sense? So using too much water in wudu is something which is unnecessary. Okay, let's look at the next one. Is Jummah khutbah in English valid? So I think I mentioned this last week. There's ikhtilaf in this, but short answer, yes, it's valid. Yeah, ikhtilaf, but in short answer, yes, it's valid. Is business insurance halal? It depends. So generally, I would say it's permissible, it's allowed, because business, it depends on what kind of business it is as well, and how much impact it can have on the owner of the business if something detrimental was to happen. So there's different types of business insurance that you have that cover different things. So depending on what exact type of business insurance it is, you'll have to mention that, and then I can. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's nice. I approve. All right. Wa alaikum assalam. Is there more reward in reading a physical Quran compared to on a phone? Exactly the same. Physical Quran on the phone, exactly the same. There's no reason why reading a physical Quran should be more rewarding. Yes, a person might feel better reading a physical Quran. Okay, let's have a look at some of these then. Right. So, okay, do homosexuals who didn't commit homosexual acts still go to hell? And also, what's the punishment for homosexuals? I can't find the answers. Okay, so this is a good question. So we mentioned this before. If a person has sexual inclinations towards other people, right? That's something which they have to try their best not to take pleasure in. All right, they are absolutely not allowed to carry out. So if a man, he's attracted to a woman and he wants to have sexual intercourse with her, he is absolutely not allowed to carry out, and he should try his best not to take pleasure in the thoughts of it. And likewise, the same with homosexuals. If a man is homosexual and he has sexual inclinations towards another man, he should try to control his thoughts, and he absolutely is not allowed to carry out any homosexual acts with the other person in any shape or form. Right? So therefore, based on that, the Prophet ﷺ said that a person will not be held responsible except for that which he says or that which he does. So in that sense, the person will not necessarily be considered sinful unless he does it or he says a particular thing. Also, what's the punishment for homosexuals? So there isn't any punishment for homosexuals, as in, it's all, these kind of questions all come down to if there is a government. For example, like if I said to you, what is the punishment if a person was to rape a child, right? So in this country, there's obviously, it depends upon the judge. The judge can give a harsh sentence, he can give a light sentence. It all depends upon the individual circumstances. So this is why these kind of questions are irrelevant in a country which there is no Islamic penal code, but it would apply in a place that is a penal code, and that all depends upon the discretion of the judge. And this is why they say this is from the ta'zirat. So it's from the discretional sort of punishments, which is up to the judge, whatever the judge wants to give. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Assalamu alaikum crypto. Haven't seen you for quite a while. Sorry, I don't know English. Okay, I think yes, Sherry. I think you did send a question. I just haven't had time to respond to that question. And usually, I mean, if I get a whole backlog of emails, I'll slowly, inshallah, try to answer it, inshallah, when I get a chance. What do you think is the best tafsir a person should study first? I have heard the tafsir of Sabuni and Jalalain are good. What do you say? I mean, the first tafsir I studied was Sabuni's in madrasa. That's the first one I studied, which is a very good one for students of knowledge who want to kind of like get an idea of what tafsir is about. Jalalain is good. I don't personally, I'm not too keen on Jalalain. It's very short, brief. It's kind of like, I would say tafsir that's good to study would be something like Tafsir Ibn Juzay. Tafsir Ibn Juzay is a nice tafsir by a Maliki scholar, Ibn Juzay. Very nice, very easy to follow. Yeah, I would say his tafsir is quite a good one. If you want to get kind of more into technicalities, then maybe something like Tafsir Abu Sa'ud is a good one as well. Yeah. Okay. Why now? The flash is okay, but please ask Yan Mufti Sahib's CC kindly. I personally email him. Do you have any spiritual and practical tips for Umrah? I don't want to spend too much time finding food shopping, so where would you suggest to go to get out of the way quickly? Okay, so I personally don't know exactly where to go into these places, right? When I go for, I'll tell you what I do. The last time I went for Umrah, what I did. So I basically get my phone, yeah, and in my phone I have earphones. Put my earphones on, and I listen to Quran as much as I can, and I listen to like books. So for example, like I went through like Zad al Ma'ad. I think I went through half of it on my entire journey. I went through a few more other books as well, like that, because they're in Arabic and I can understand Arabic, so it kind of like saves me a lot of time for reading. I can just, so whilst I'm doing tawaf, maybe I'll be listening to Quran, and I'll try to do as many tawafs as possible in the day. I try to do at least one tawaf after or before every salat. I just try to maintain that. Try to exhaust yourself when you're there. Try to exhaust yourself in being inside the haram, inside the masjid, and try to avoid shops. If you want to go for shops, then you know where that Jabal Umar, what is it called? Is it called Jabal Umar? Right. If you ask them, they'll tell you, by the Tawheed hotel. Behind there's a whole sort of like indoor complex where they got all these food shops, right? And you just go there. They got tables in the middle, and you go to anyone you want. And I would just go to like I think it's called tabakh or something. Just go there, grab something. It's kind of nice food as well. It's not too kind of junky, and just eat that. Yeah. So I think that's the best thing that what I did. And I benefited a lot there. In Medina, on the other hand, I didn't like junk food too much. I got a bit sick of it. So you have to go a little bit out to go to the kind of Asian shops, like the desi sort of back home sort of shops. Then if you just go ask anyone over there, where are they? They'll tell you where it is, and it takes about a good 20 minutes to get there by foot. Okay. Okay. My daughter relayed to me this morning. She had at Fajr. She dreamed of 3 people in a boat owned by my father. One was by my father. One was a grandmother never seen before, but of our family, gilding the boat. One was my daughter. Third was a popular entertainer sitting next to her. The boat was passing over a stream and dry. They encountered a snake in hiding grass and killed it by cutting in half. On their return, someone gave them an old lantern. They thought wouldn't work, but worked very well. And lit at last they returned to the path. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to need some information to answer this one. So I think what you do is if you email me this whole dream, because I need to ask some piece of information, and I don't want to ask private information on the live stream. So email it to me, and inshallah I'll help you with that, inshallah. Okay. Okay, next question. Okay, so for live stream, the meat of people of the book is halal. Therefore, is it permissible to eat meat slaughtered by either a Qadiani or a Rafidi Shia who says Bismillahi Allahu Akbar before slaughtering the animal? So, if a person, first of all, there's 2 conditions, or there's 2 types of people that are allowed to slaughter meat. One is a Muslim, and one is a Ahlul Kitab, meaning a Jew and Christian, right? So as long as they slaughter the animal is halal for us. As long as they are a Muslim, and even if they are deviant or whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as they're Muslim, they're slaughtering the animal. Qadianis are not Muslims at all. This is unanimously agreed. They are not Muslims. Shia, there's a difference of opinion among some people. I mean, if they haven't committed anything which is absolutely, just like Sunnis as well, if they haven't committed anything which is categorically against Islam, you haven't heard them do so, then you can eat their meat, it's fine. Jews and Christians, same goes for them. Yeah. Qadianis, no. Okay. Next, Ustad, again, another personal one. Did you always want to be a scholar from a young age? Did you have ambition and dreams? How did you make up your mind? No, I didn't want to become a scholar when I was young. I had no ambition. I actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I was actually a waiter in a restaurant. I used to do waitering, and obviously when you're waitering, you serve alcohol and these kind of things. And so I wasn't really practicing. And it was just before I went to madrasa. It was only like about a year or so, maybe 18 months or so. Before that, I started to think about Islam, become conscious about Islam. And the thing that really kind of made me more conscious about Islam, I don't know if any of you guys have heard of the Shadows. The Shadow, there used to be a Shadows in the 90s, the end of the 90s, 1999. There used to be this cassette going around, and there was no internet them days like we have nowadays. And there was a cassette going around called In the Shadows, or something like that, The Shadows. And it was about like world dominance and the Dajjal system and all that. So that was the first kind of thing that I heard, and I thought, you know what, I've got to start thinking about my religion. And then I started practicing, and then I went for Tablighi Jamaat as well, and then I wanted to study. So then, it just kind of took there. But in the younger, I wasn't really interested. It was just in a short span of few months that my mind, Allah put it in my mind that I wanted to go and study. Okay. Okay. So crypto, is wearing the ihram fard before entering Mecca, or can you go Mecca and enter ihram and do umrah after day 2? So if you intend to go for umrah, you're not allowed to wear the ihram. You're not allowed to wear the ihram there. You have to wear it before entering the miqat, like I mentioned a bit earlier. So that miqat area, it's like Jeddah comes into it, right? And it's like an upside down ice cream cone, basically. Starts from Medina and it goes down and it goes around Mecca. So there's like this vicinity and area that you can't enter. Yeah, so that's basically it. So you have to go into ihram. Yes, if you intend to, for example, like to go for work or something, you don't intend to primarily go for umrah, and you went for work, you can go in your normal clothes. You don't have to go into ihram. Okay, what is the Hanafi position on shaking hands between men and women? So the Hanafi position is not allowed. Yeah, it wouldn't be allowed, because the Hanafis say that part of the body that you're not allowed to, that part of the body in which basically all a woman's body is aura. So that part of the body which is an aura, you can't touch. And then the hands and the face is because the Prophet ﷺ, he never touched the hands of another woman, right? Besides his family, he never touched. So this is why touching of the hands is considered to be a sin without a reason. So if it's like a doctor or someone, or you're helping a lady, she's fallen or something, then that's fine. But otherwise, a handshake, it wouldn't be allowed. Okay, next, Mufti Sahab. Wa alaikum assalam. Is it sin to be hard, men think when you hear or listen to about Hurul Ain? Okay, well, it means, is it sinful if a person becomes sexually aroused by listening to Hurul Ain? Okay, so if a person, if the Quran mentions Hurul Ain, and the Quran says things like, for example, Uruban Atraba, they will be of similar age, and loving their husband, and Kawa'iba Atraba, and they will have firm breasts. Kawa'ib, that's what it means. If a person becomes aroused at these kind of things, that's not his fault then. So a person will not be held sinful for that at all, because that is something which is within the limits of. And some people may get aroused at looking at some woman's feet. Some people may get aroused at just hearing that there's a woman in the next room. Allah knows best. Yeah, so a person won't be held responsible for thinking about Hurul Ain. Okay, I have heard in the past that pigtails weren't allowed. That's why I asked. Also, what about a bun where the height of the hair bun clip is higher than the head? Is this like a... Okay, so hair buns are allowed, to my knowledge. The camel's hump issue is, I don't understand how people make a sort of like a analogy with the camel's hump with a woman's bun in her hair. It doesn't even make sense. Like, it doesn't even look like a camel's hump. I don't know if any of you have seen a camel's hump. Camel's hump, the shape is very different. I think, see what tends to happen. Let me kind of just elaborate on this a bit. Generally, Muslims are very, very, you can say, like the vast majority of them are very sort of, you can say, naive. And anything that they're told, they quickly accept it, and they take it 100% categorically. So if a person has a wrapper, like, you ever seen that kind of thingy that say, oh, this is a lollipop with a wrapper, and this is a lollipop without a wrapper, and the one without a wrapper has got all flies over it. It's like the analogies and the kind of examples that they give are very crude, but a lot of Muslims will it resonates with them. They feel, yes, this is right. This is why Islam has prohibited, or put certain injunctions in place. So I think a lot of Muslims, they just see any small little thing and immediately they kind of like, you know, especially with the Chinese nowadays, they're kind of saying, oh, Chinese are eating everything, that's why they got these illnesses. Well, then if that's the case, how come there's certain illnesses in places that have good hygiene levels, right? So, you know, it's just, it's not very sort of like thoughtful, right? A person really hasn't thought about this argument very well. So it's a very sort of like a naive sort of way of putting it across, basically. So the camel's hump, I don't understand why people think that a woman who's got a bun in her hair is a camel's hump. The hadith doesn't mean, the hadith says that the women, they're going to come a time where they will have their hair in such a way that ma'ilat mumilat كأسنمة البخت. Yeah, كأسنمة البخت. So didn't women in the early days have buns in their hair? Of course they did. Yeah, because it's a natural sort of way of women keeping hair up. So how comes it's something which wasn't mentioned earlier, and why is it to do with the Day of Judgment? So it has to be something in the Day of Judgment. There's going to be a widespread thing of women, widespread across the world, right? Of women having a certain style hair or whatever, or certain way of walking maybe, or this kind of, you know, whatever it is, that's going to be attracting. Wallah, Allah knows best. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Alright, so let's have a little break here, I think, guys, yeah? Man, we've had an hour now. So let's have a little break, inshallah. And then after the break, we will continue, guys. So I've got my tea. I don't have to make any tea. But I think because it's our sunnah to have like a little break after an hour. So that I'm sure you guys, you know, can you know, do your kind of tea things and go toilet if you have to or whatever. So inshallah, I will see you guys in 5 minutes. Assalamu alaikum. Right, welcome back, guys. Okay, so let's continue then with the questions. Right, let's get back to these questions. Okay, so let's have a look at, okay, Curious Cat. Bit of a long one, so you have to bear with me. The Dawah activist Muhammad Hijab said that those non-Muslims who are into the field of gratuitous insult and mockery of Islam should be opposed with harshness, and even said it is haram to be kind to such non-Muslims. In order to establish his point, Muhammad Hijab brought the verse in which Allah says, "You will not find any people who believe in Allah and the Last Day having affection for the ones who contravene Allah and His Messenger, even if they were their kinsmen." لا تجد قوما. Okay, it's the verse. Is Muhammad Hijab correct? If yes, then how should we understand the verse repel with that which is the best? Idfa billati ahsan. Okay, good question this is. So Muhammad Hijab, for those who don't know, he's a very well known debater, and he has his YouTube channel and he's done a few debates with prominent non-Muslims. So what I'm sure everyone understood the question there. What we have to understand as Muslims is that the Prophet ﷺ over the 23 years faced various forms, you can say shapes and sizes, of people that were against Islam. So you had, for example, let's say a spectrum. So you had those on the one side who were extremely harsh against Islam, like the likes of Abu Lahab. And then you had those on the other side who were very, very mild, right? So, you know, you had some individuals who just didn't want to listen to Islam. So you have just this kind of spectrum of people. So in the Quran, if you look, the Quran tells the Prophet ﷺ to respond in various ways. And there's two main reasons for this. Sometimes some verses, so let me give you an example. Some verses will say things like, just say to them, lakum deenukum waliya deen. Right? Ya ayyuhal kafirun, la, I don't worship that which you worship, nor did I ever worship that which you worship, nor do you worship which I worship, etc. And for you is your faith, your religion, whatever you want to do, and for me is mine. So you had this approach, this response. And sometimes you had this approach which was like a very, very harsh and stern approach. Yeah. That, you know, براءة من الله ورسوله إلى الذين آحدتم من المشركين فسيحوا في الأرض 4 أشهر واعلموا أنكم غير معجز الله وأن الله مخزي الكافرين. Right, that, this is a clear براءة that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger are free of the mushrikeen, and you have 4 months to take care of your affairs and then, right, leave. Otherwise, get ready for war. So very harsh, that is very severe, stern. So this is why when we look throughout the Quran, there's different audiences in how Allah speaks to people. When Allah speaks to the average Ahlul Kitab, the average Jew and Christian, it's in a certain way. تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم ألا نعبد إلا الله. Come to a common ground, a common statement that we say and you say, that we don't worship Allah and that we won't have any partners with Him and so forth. And then you have the one where Allah says, for example, لِمَ تَقُولُونَ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah speaks to the religious authorities of the Jews and Christians. So one He's talking to the average one, and one He's talking to the religious authorities. And then He's talking to the ones who are clearly scheming against Islam. Yeah. لا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق وأنتم تعلمون. So you have a whole array. So I haven't listened to what Brother Muhammad Hijab said, but I think he's just giving a general sort of thing that he, maybe the way he speaks to certain individuals, like that, what's he called, the Christian Prince, and David Woods. Yeah, I think the way he kind of like spoke harshly to them, maybe it's because these are individuals who speak very harshly against Islam. Right, so the Quran says that you فَمَنِ اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ فَاعْتَدُوا عَلَيْهِ. Whoever transgresses against you, you transgress against them as they did. Right, you have full right to do so. So this is something which even in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ would encourage the Sahaba to do as well. That they take their equal, they exact the wrong that was done to them. So I think yes, there is sort of truth to what he's saying. But it has to be understood in the whole concept of da'wah. And I think a lot of people do not understand that da'wah requires training. Yeah, because Allah in the Quran, He says that ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. So when you're inviting people to Islam, you have to remember there has to be this بالحكمة, hikmah meaning that extreme wisdom. You have to have training. وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. You have to know exactly what kind of arguments to present. جَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ does not mean, al-ahsan is not always being kind and gentle with them. Ahsan means like, it could mean this, that looking at the answer being something which is more what's the word for it? It's more sort of like solid in a way. Yeah, it's more conclusive, an answer that's more conclusive. So this is why many times what happens is we don't know, we just learn da'wah from YouTube. We watch a lot of YouTube videos and we think we know how to debate with Christians, and we kind of get pumped up and, you know what, I want to debate with this Christian or this atheist, and that's totally wrong. That's not how we should do it. We should have an understanding, at least study the Quran and at least learn da'wah from the Quran. I think that's a must for people. So yeah, the Quran clearly shows about لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله. حاد Allah, not any old, Tom, Dick and Harry, non-Muslim. It's the one that's had Allah, the one that kind of, he is a thorn in the way of Islam. This person is actively funding Islamophobia, is actively at the front line of Islamophobia, saying filthy things. Right, these kind of people, just like if there was someone in the same situation against, maybe democracy or whatever, what would they do? How would they deal with this? And you know what they do? Okay, yeah. So I hope that answers the question. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. What to do if someone did an action that isn't deemed makruh tahriman, is deemed makruh tahriman in prayer? Do we have to repeat the prayer, or does it depend? It all depends on what kind of makruh tahriman it is. Yeah, it all depends. So if it's a makruh tahriman which is to do with the integral part of salat, then the scholars say that it's highly recommended that a person should repeat their salat again, and within the time. And if they don't pray within the time, then they don't have to repeat it. But if it's a makruh tahriman, which is not directly connected to the salat, but to do with something that's external, for example, like they say, reading surahs not in order, right? So you're praying the fard salat and you don't read them in order, that is considered makruh, but it won't affect the salat. Okay, next. All right. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. So this is Cyrus von Lafay. I probably said your name all wrong. Yeah. What if someone take a shower, then a wudu? Is it allowed in Islam, or just having a shower, same like having wudu, and you don't need to? Another, yes, correct. You don't need to do wudu. If you take a shower, all the limbs are washed. You don't need to take a wudu. Yeah. So this is something which the scholars, most of them agree upon. Imam Tirmidhi mentions this as well in a hadith where of Aisha radiallahu anha, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he takes a bath, and he mentions it there. Okay, Cyrus. So, and what about those that have gastric and fart a lot and cause wudu is broken, and the person need to keep taking wudu? Yes. So if a person has a problem, gastric problem, and it keeps breaking their wudu, they can also follow the steps of a ma'dhur, an excused person, perform wudu once, and that wudu will last them until the next salat. Isn't there a hadith which says looking at a mushaf is ibadah, so wouldn't you get more reward for reading? Actually, I don't think there's a hadith. I've never come across a hadith that looking at the Quran. There was no mushaf in the time of the Prophet ﷺ anyway. Like a mushaf actually came in the time of Uthman. So I very, highly doubt that the Prophet said that. Okay, when doing wudu, what does wiping a quarter of the head mean? Can you simply wipe a wet hand, or do we need to do more rigorous rubbing? Yeah, just a wet hand. All you have to do is like this. Just touch your hand like that. Yeah, so wet hand. Okay, BXRVT, thank you for answering my questions. Have a good night. And you have a good night too. Alhamdulillah. Aidan, mashallah. Sharif, assalamu alaikum. Hadith which says that water heated by the sun should not be used as it causes leprosy. Will this also apply to solar heated water? I don't think there's a hadith. There's a statement of Umar radiallahu anhu regarding this, that he would not use sun heated water that was heated, solar heated water. But this is an opinion which is, I think it's the Shafis and the Malikis. And as for Shafis and Malikis, I think it is. Hanafis, they say no, it's fine, totally fine. You can use the water, totally fine. Nothing's wrong with it. Wa alaikum assalam, Eskhan, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaban. Why now? During periods, can't women not even write ayats from the Quran? Yes, they can. So they can write ayats. The issue is because the hadith mentioned about recitation. So it's to do with the recitation. What's the significance of the tawaf? Would you recommend trying to get to the black stone? What's the significance of the tawaf? So tawaf is something which we've been told, the Quran's told us to do it. We don't exactly 100% know the kind of like background to how it was established, like where it initially came from. So we know it existed before because Arabs used to do it as well. But yeah, so this is something which is something that we do. We don't really know the 100%. Yeah, there are some narrations that mention this is like 7 times. The mother of Ismail, she kind of went and was searching for water, but we don't categorically know the significance of 7. Would you recommend trying to get to the black stone? No, I wouldn't recommend. It's not necessary. I've never done it. I've never kissed the black stone, and it's always packed out, and it's just going to cause problem. Yeah, if someone wants to do it, let them do it. And the Prophet ﷺ said, if you can't get there, then just by kissing your hands is fine, sufficient. If while messaging we say inshallah but don't write it, would that be enough? Like if I write I'll see you tomorrow and say inshallah, but no, yes, that's enough. Inshallah, that's enough. Barakallah feek. Okay, let's check some of these questions out. Is it allowed for men to wear silver necklace or bracelet? Again, this is an issue which is, according to Hanafis, no, it wouldn't be allowed. But some of the madhas may allow it. Yeah, Hanafis wouldn't allow this because it's like an article of accessory which is normally associated to women, like jewelry. Yeah, so the Prophet ﷺ has forbade men from trying to imitate women. So the ring is allowed because the Prophet ﷺ wore ring. So we kind of like to say, well, that's an exemption. But in the Hanafis, no. So other madhabs, there's scope for it. Is it allowed to buy books with pictures on the cover? Yes. There are some good academic books about the irrationality of the Christian belief, but it has pictures of Isa alayhi salam on the cover. I wanted to buy education purposes, but I'm worrying. Yes, you can buy it. It's fine. For live stream, I mean, if something has something which is blasphemous, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't like buy it, right? So especially for research purposes, then it's permissible. For live stream on a website, a woman stated that following, I mean, I'm a woman and I do wish for men hurs, guys. I'm pretty sure a lot of women do, but they don't mention it out of shyness. This creates a question, can we fulfill all our wishes in Jannah? What if a woman in Jannah wants more than one husband? Or what if someone in Jannah wants to be with a relative who was condemned to eternal damnation? Alright, so let's have a sip of nice licorice tea. So basically, when it comes to Jannah, let me explain a few things about Jannah first of all. All the entire existence, right? So this world and the next world are governed by laws. So in this world, we figured them out. We figured a lot of them out, like let's say gravity and the speed of light, and mass and water, evaporation, chemicals, all these things, properties. We've kind of figured a lot of it out. There's lots still left, guaranteed. But we understand that this world works by cause and effects. The hereafter is also going to have laws as well. There are set laws. You can't break those laws. So there are set laws, but we don't know exactly how those laws are going to work. They definitely are not going to be laws which are going to be same as the laws in this world. They're going to be different, but there are going to be laws that are governed, because everything Allah's creation, Allah designs things and creates things with His sunnah. And this is the sunnah of Allah, that Allah does things with this cause and effect. So therefore, Jannah will be governed by laws. And when we get there, inshallah, we're going to start to understand them. That's the first thing. The second thing that we have to understand is that when the Quran says about what you're going to get in Jannah, the Quran only tells us things that we can fathom of this world. So the Quran tells us we're going to get something in Jannah, and our brains can never fathom this, right? Because we are limited to a three-dimensional understanding of existence, and Jannah might be a 4-dimension, 5-dimension, 6-dimension. We don't know. So therefore, telling us things that our brains cannot understand is like telling a fetus things that exist in the real world, and they can't comprehend it, right? So this is a very similar. This is the second thing. The third thing to understand about Jannah is that when we say that you get anything you want, that statement is not necessarily true. What the Quran says is that وَفِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِ الْأَنفُسُ وَتَلَذُّ الْأَعْيُنُ. Yeah? وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ. Right? Whatever you ask for, you get. Again, that doesn't mean that you ask for anything that breaks all the laws. Like if we say in this dunya, if you'd make dua to Allah, Allah will give you whatever you ask for. That statement is conditioned that you don't break the laws of dua. There's laws of dua as well. Like if you say, Ya Allah, I want another Allah, that dua is never going to be accepted, because it breaks the laws of existence. And likewise in Jannah as well. So if a person in Jannah asks for something which goes against the laws of Jannah, like if a person in Jannah says, I want to be Allah, no, you can't have that. So we clearly know there are things in Jannah that you cannot have. So what the Quran says is, Ma tashtahil anfus, is that which the nafs, it desires. In other words, the natural, like nafs would be the natural sort of like cravings that you get. The natural the cravings that kick in. You want like hot chocolate, or you want, doner kebab and chili sauce, or you want, I don't know, marshmallows, melted marshmallows, or you get those kind of crazy cravings that you get sometimes at different times of the day or night. And everyone has their own cravings at whatever time. So this kind of thing that people have, this is called tashtahil anfus, and it's different from tahwa al-anfus. Tahwa al-anfus, that is something which is totally wrong, because that's to do with the hawa, right? That desire is wrong. And وَتَلَذُّ الْأَعْيُنُ, and the eyes will taste the sweetness of it. So this is why in Jannah there are going to be things that we're going to get, but they're going to be based upon, when you're there, the things that you're going to want in Jannah, you're going to get, right? Just like in this dunya, a person wants to get a Ferrari. Can they get a Ferrari? Yes, they can get a Ferrari. Why not? Is it within the laws of the society and the world, and they can get it. So when you're in Jannah, so when we think about, for example, like let's say there's a woman, and this woman says, "Look, I want, 10 men in Jannah, right? And I want to, I don't know what's that word you call it? Not polygamy. What's the woman's word for it? I don't know what that word is." So in other words, she's thinking of it in this world context, right? So in this world context, that this is the kind of desire that this is a desire that a person might have. In Jannah, that desire may not even exist because the whole set of laws are different. So if a person goes to Jannah, whatever they want in Jannah, whatever they crave in Jannah, they're going to get. Yeah, that's basically what the Quran is saying. And then the Quran just gives some examples that, the hoods of Jannah. So if this is within the laws and the boundaries of Jannah, then why not? Women can have this. Does that make sense? So there's nothing categorical to say that a woman will not get, 10 husbands or 10 men. Nothing to guarantee that she won't get that. But what we're saying is that it seems as though the laws of Jannah are obviously going to have these conditions on there. Anyway, this is a very long topic to Jannah. I don't know, maybe it might be a good idea to do a series on YouTube about this concept of Jannah, misconceptions, misunderstandings. And like I said to you again, I think a lot of this is to do with popularist understanding of Islam and this kind of unfortunate sort of a naive sort of approach to accepting everything that you hear from people. And then this is where we get a lot of confusions. Okay. Let's check another question on here. Okay, Ali, does saying the word world godly constitute disbelief? No. I'm watching fights of an anime that has concepts like God of destruction. Also, no, it's totally fine. We as Muslims only do sajda to Allah when meeting a Japanese person. There is a small bow. Is this forbidden? See, that bow is not to do with worship, is it? So this is why there's difference of opinion regarding this particular bow. Yeah. And if it's in a society which is done by people, but it's not done out of an act of worship, like you're not worshipping them, then there seems to be some scope for permissibility, I would say. I can't say it's absolutely permissible, but I'm inclined towards saying that there is permissibility. It's not like you're doing sajda to them as a person would do sajda to an idol. Okay, Jazakallah khair, you're welcome. Is watching hentai haram? So hentai, is that pornography, cartoon pornography? The thing is, see, pornography, whether it's something which a person physically sees, whether this person watches it through some recording or a live sort of like a video of it, or whether it's something which is resembled by something. So the resembling, this is an issue which the Shafis actually discuss about the concept of fantasizing and indulging on the fantasies, and they totally prohibit. And some Hanafis, Ibn Abidin says that this wouldn't be allowed according to Hanafis as well. So based on that, it wouldn't be allowed. No, yeah, because it's the same sort of concept is there, which is it's like the same sort of like actions are taking place, lustful actions, and it just morally it just feels wrong. It feels wrong. You wouldn't be happy your kids watching this, right? It just feels wrong. I ask a lot about fiction, but I'm really obsessed with fantasy and all that. There is a form in the show and a game that was called Super Saiyan, God Super Saiyan, but the name was changed to. Okay. Right. So no worries. Yeah, I think a lot of your questions, Ali, are to do with these kind of things. I've noticed a lot of your questions are to do with this. Super Saiyan Blue. So now the name was changed and the word God was removed. Can I play or watch the video? Yes, you can watch them. Totally fine. Yeah, as long as you don't believe in these things, it's totally fine. Where's Osama bin Laden? Allah knows best. Also, I sort of get a bit nervous when I see the word God or gods used in fiction games. No, they're totally fine. You do not have nothing to worry about. Last time I asked about games, hopefully, inshallah. Frozen, no, moving. Salam from Croatia. Ahlan wa sahlan, Ivan. Just finished a workout, deep breath moment. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Okay, no, he took 5 minutes break. Normal now. Can the wife visit her husband's grave after she finishes her iddah? Yes, she can. MashaAllah, this has 35,000 subscribers. Just noticed now. Bahut zyada mubarak. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair, guys. Without your guys' effort, MashaAllah, I don't think it would have reached this far. So Jazakallah khair, mashallah, with all your guys' efforts. And obviously, first shukr is to Allah, and then the second shukr is to my TAs, the team that are with me, and third shukr is to all you guys who support this. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. May Allah put all of this in your rewards of your deeds in the Day of Judgment. You said that according to Hanafi, Sunnah should be immediately followed by Fard in namaz. Is that true for Fajr as well? Because there are many du'as Rasulullah recited after. Yeah, so according to Hanafis, the Prophet ﷺ's practice generally was to pray the Sunnahs after the Fard. He wouldn't leave a gap between them. And some of the Sahaba, like Umar radiallahu anh and others, would immediately get up and pray. And as for these du'as, the thing we have to remember is, did the Prophet ﷺ used to recite these after every salat? So we have no evidence to prove that. He would say that after salat you should say these, but sometimes we find in some hadith that he would get up straight away and walk off. So this is why Aisha radiallahu anha used to say that he would only sit for the duration of Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Yes, if a person wants to read all those kind of different du'as they've collected from various hadith and read them all after every salat, there wouldn't be anything wrong with that. I mean, personally, I don't do that. Like after every salat, I don't read all the du'as that I find. Sometimes I read some, sometimes I read others. Yeah, I mix and match sometimes. But yeah, that's basically what the Hanafis say. Some of the Hanafis, like Al-Imam Al-Halwani, he says you should read the du'as, because the Hanafis say those du'as you read them after the sunnahs. I.e. the Hanafis say what should be done after the fard straight away, the sunnahs or the du'as, like the adhkar. So the Hanafis say that the sunnahs, and then all the adhkar and du'as after the sunnahs. That's where it should be done. So whenever we hear the hadith regarding the Prophet saying doing dhikrs and these kind of things, the place where he tells us to do is actually after the sunnahs according to Hanafis. Some of the Hanafis, like Imam Al-Halwani, says after the fard. If you purposely commit a sin knowing you're being watched, can doing a good deed like charity or praying a fard prayer later erase it? Yes, inshallah. Yes. If as long as it's a sin which is only connected to you, but if it's a sin that has harmed someone else, then you have to ask forgiveness from them. Does that mean that the Basant or kite flying festival in Pakistan can't be called a bid'ah because we were taught that that's what it was? Secondly, if some scholars believe it should be banned, can they use the word haram for it? Yeah, so I mean the kite flying kind of thing that people do, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Yeah, because there's no religious sort of like, I mean, when I was there, the people used to do it. There wasn't anything religious attached to it. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If someone says it's haram, I mean, it's tough to, why did they say it's haram for? Are they saying it's haram because it's dangerous, it's causing lots of kites to get hit into the electrical lines above? Is it because some people believe it's some sort of religion or something? Depends. Okay, let's have a look at these then. Okay. Is it allowed to buy things that have the form of a living being? For example, there are some USB sticks that have the shape of comic figures. Do they count as statues? And what if one would buy such figures as a decoration? Yeah, there's scope to buy these. Yeah, because you're not primarily buying them as an idol of worship. Yeah, it's just like a little sort of toy thing. So there's scope to buy these. For live stream, is the principle of Sadd al-Dharai only found in the Hanafi? No, Sadd al-Dharai is not a Hanafi principle. So Imam Qarafi talks about this Sadd al-Dharai. He talks about 3 types of Sadd al-Dharai. Sadd al-Dharai basically means like cutting something off at the bud. So prohibiting something before you actually get there. So for example, like, things like smoking obviously is going to kill you, right? It speeds up sort of like the diseases in the body. So some scholars say smoking is haram because it leads to lung cancer, etc. So this is called Sadd al-Dharai, right? You kind of like cut off the means. This is actually not a Hanafi principle. This is more of a Maliki and Hanbali principle, right? So the Maliki and Hanbali. So there's 3 types of Sadd al-Dharai. So Sadd al-Dharai means, like, imagine there's a road that leads to a destination. So if an action will 100% lead to that thing, that's wrong. Everyone agrees that form of Sadd al-Dhara'i is wrong. Malikis, Hanbalis, Shafis, Hanafis, everyone says wrong. For example, like lustfully looking at a woman, and that's gonna most likely lead to something haram, then that would be haram, because the Quran kind of alludes towards that. Second is something, an action that will not necessarily lead to that sin. Like for example, like leaving your house in the morning, it will lead you to kill someone. So maybe leaving your house in the morning might lead you to kill someone. Like there's a 0.001% chance that you might kill someone. So that chance is so slim that you can't say that's a means for that. And the third is where it most likely, like there's more than 50% chance that this action you're doing will lead to that particular sin. Right? So the Malikis and the Hanbalis, they say yes, Sadd al-Dhara'i will apply here. You wouldn't be allowed. But the Hanafis and the Shafis say no, you can't say that. Right? Just because something most likely will lead to something, it doesn't mean it will lead to something. So the Hanafis don't take it, so it's not a Hanafi principle. Okay, Salam Sheikh. Don't know if you remember, but this is randomly from YouTube. Last Saturday, I wish I could for some reason, but I won't be able to attend live. Appreciate if you could explain these things to me. I'll watch the question answer sessions afterwards. I'm sorry in advance if I come across as rude. And okay, no problem. Jazakallah khair, Randomly. And so Randomly's got some questions here. So we're all gonna in a bit listen to Randomly's questions and inshallah try to answer them. Okay, so Assalamu alaikum. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah can touch on the meaning of... Yeah, I mentioned this last week. Yeah, so la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah means that there is nothing that turns a person away from sin, and there is nothing that can make a person do a good deed except Allah. So if a person is committing a sin, in other words, if a person thinks I can stop this sin anytime I want, then they're thinking wrong, because only Allah can give a person the power to stop sinning. Like you ask Allah, please stop me from sinning, Ya Allah. Give me the strength to stop sinning. Like Yusuf alayhi salam, when he was in that situation where it was like right in the kind of midst of about to sin, and then he just turned to Allah and said, oh Allah, help me in this situation, and Allah saved him from it. That's la hawla. La quwwata, it means an action that you're doing. Don't think that you'll always be doing this. Allah could always just stop you from doing it. It won't give you power. So for example, going for salat. So you think to yourself, I can go for salat. But the thing you have to remember is La quwwata illa billah. There's no strength except Allah. That's why when the mu'adhin says Hayya ala salah, come to salat, we say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, because we don't have the strength to go to salat without Allah's permission. Okay, Nasima question. I once heard that after janazah, after fard prayer, we shouldn't pray any nawafil. Sahih? After janazah, after fard prayer, after janazah, after the fard prayer, we shouldn't pray any nawafil. Not according to the Hanafis. No, according to Hanafis, after janazah you can pray. After asr you can't pray any nawafil, and after fajr. After fajr and after asr you can't pray. According to Hanafis, you can't pray any nawafil. And according to Malikis as well, and Shafis do allow nawafil bisabab. But janazah, no, I'm not sure if maybe some other madhabs have allowed this, have not allowed this. Okay, Ma'had Manias, alaikum assalam. If your mother or father calls you whilst you are praying, what is the ruling? So if a mother or father calls you as praying, so the Hanafis say that if it's a nafil prayer, you can break your prayer and go to them, and if it's a fard, you shouldn't break it unless they're in danger. Is it easier for men to kiss black stone in the blistering heat around 11 p.m. because less people there? Oh, is it? Well, good luck to them then. MashaAllah. Manhoors. Yeah, Manhoors, a new name, isn't it? I love your sippers. Yeah. I love your sippers. Sippers. Oh, my sipping of the tea. Is it sunnah to do jama'at in the house with wife and children? It's not, according to Hanafi, it's not sunnah, but it's something which is recommended. Yeah, if you can't make it to the masjid. Zaba, is a woman allowed to sing in front of a man if a music teacher is a man? I mean, see, this is a kind of situation. This is like kind of like problematic. A woman should not soften her voice to another man, and the scholars say, even if it's something like even reciting Quran, she shouldn't soften her voice to other men. to cause attraction as well. So we have that, right? So if obviously singing music is obviously going to soften the voice and it's going to kind of become more, you could say, seductive, then in this situation, what do you do? So if it's a music teacher, man, and they have to, then that would have to look at situation as well. So this is not like a brush ruling that you can give. You have to look at the situation, as in a Muslim should say, look, I don't want to sing in front of another man, or I don't know. I mean, that's my own kind of like thoughts on that. I haven't really thought about this masala thoroughly. I haven't looked into the different scenarios, but wouldn't be able to give a brush ruling on it. Wa alaikum assalam, Kamran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay. Next, Sharif. Oh, guys, where is the what's it? Where are the moderators? Moderators, what are you guys doing? People are putting comments up, crazy comments, and you guys are not doing anything. Assalamu alaikum. We hear some saying in Islam so frequently they seem to take the form of hadith. What is the best way or clues to distinguish a hadith from athar, and when are athar be used as dalil? Yeah, so there isn't no like a quick answer for that. This requires thorough research and studying the science of usul hadith and hadith. There's no real kind of like way to kind of distinguish, unfortunately. Polyandry, that's what it's called. Women having more husbands. Fantasizing is haram. Like thinking about desires. Yeah, so fantasizing and carrying on indulging in those fantasies, this would be, according to Hanafis, is considered to be makruh to do this. If you continuously fantasize and you continue, like, you kind of take pleasure in those fantasies, those thoughts. Okay, is wrestling allowed if both parties agree? Yes. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for clarifying. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Okay. Seven-figure gibber. Seven-figure gibber. What's that? Did you watch Jake Paul versus Gibb? No, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm probably too old for that kind of stuff. How do you read the Janazah prayer in Makkah? I heard they do it in a different way. It just depends. I think sometimes they do it with 4 takbirs, 5 takbirs. Yeah, so if they do 5 takbirs, you just have to do your normal recitation. I'm going to Hanafis. After the first takbir, you recite Thana, Subhanakallahumma bihamdika wa tabarak asmuka wa ta'ala jadduka la ilaha ghayruk. After the second takbir, you recite salutation of the Prophet sallallahu Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid, or whichever one you want. And after the third takbir, you make dua. Allahumma ghfir li hayyina wa mayyitina wa shahidina wa ghaibina. And then the fourth takbir, you give salam. That's going to Hanafis. But if you pray behind them, just do the 4 things the Hanafis do, and after the 5th one, you give salam. Is the registration to your course still open? Yes, it's open, Brother Munir. Yes. You can join, inshallah. How to deal with obsession of impurity transfer, like thinking, I did istinja with this hand, touch this hand and that. That's, I would say, speak to a doctor. Definitely speak to a doctor. You need to, because this is not to do with Islam. This is to do with just like mental issues. Yeah. Okay, let's look at this. So we're going to look at random these questions now, yeah? So, okay, first question. If the Quran was meant to be the last book from God till doomsday, and it's the best proof of Islam's truthfulness, then why is it so hard to understand? If my mother tongue is English, why I need to first spend years learning Arabic and all its rules to finally be able to see its claimed miraculous nature? Why is it so hard for a common man? Alright, so a good question this is. Okay, this question, actually, the answer to this question isn't something that can be done within 5 minutes or even, within 10 minutes. This requires a full, thorough understanding of several concepts. So, first of all, when we say that the Quran is a miracle, right, the word miracle is not correct. What the word that is used by the scholars is, they say mu'jiza. Yeah, in other words, it incapacitates others from being able to do it. So it stops. Everyone else can't replicate it. it's immutable, right? So this is the kind of first thing that we discuss. In what way is the Quran miraculous in nature? That's a whole long discussion scholars have. Number two is when we say that the Quran is the book of truthfulness until the day of judgment for all mankind. What does that mean? Yeah. And the third thing here I would say is that how is it possible that we have to go and learn all of Arabic in order for us to be able to see the nature of the Quran? So first of all, I'm not gonna answer all of these, or I'm just gonna allude towards like just some thoughts that you can maybe think about. So first of all, when we say that how is the Quran miraculous in nature, some say that it's miraculous in nature in the scientific sort of like precision that it mentions things in, about the movements of the celestial bodies, about the reproductive system, about how the bee functions, etc. Some say that it's to do with law, of how Allah legislates law in the Quran, and how a man in the Arabian Peninsula, was able to compose these laws that are so sophisticated that they easily outstrip the laws that philosophize in the future. In economy, whether it's the penal code, whether it's family life, domestic issues. Some say that the miraculous nature of the Quran is in the sort of like hidden things that have been mentioned in there of past events, like precise hidden things that. So, for instance, like the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, how there was this king in all the line of pharaohs that came in history, right? How a king came, and they actually discovered this a few hundred years ago, and many words that in the Surah Yusuf that are used that were actually used by Egyptians and were only discovered when hieroglyphs were translated 200 or 300 years ago. Some say that the miraculous nature of the Quran is to do with the idea or the language itself, that the language was impossible for anyone at the time when the Quran was revealed. It was impossible for anyone to have come out with such genre of language. Every surah incapacitated anyone from being able to come out with something similar to it. Okay, so this is the first thing, right? So this is why it's a long discussion itself. Secondly is that, okay, when we say about this is like the Quran is guidance for everyone, what do we mean? So one thing we can ask is that does that mean that everyone to reach guidance has to read the Quran? Like any human being that comes on earth must read the Quran in order for them to achieve guidance? That's the first. Or does it mean that as long as the society is functioning around the guidance of the Quran, that society will be guided? So for example, let's say there's a big village in Africa, and this village for hundreds of years they've been Muslim, and they're illiterate, they haven't learned how to understand the Quran, but they can read Quran, and they've just been carrying on like that for years and years and years. Do we say that this society is rightly guided because they have in their society, the structure of society, the way that they pray and fast and everything is based upon Quran, based upon the teachings of the Quran, but simply they don't understand what the Quran says? Or do we say that every one of them has to learn what the Quran says for themselves? So again, I would say that when the Quran is a guidance, it doesn't necessarily mean that the words of the Quran themselves have to be memorized and have to be understood by every individual human. What it simply means is that the Quran was revealed to people, and then the scholars and the people began to take from the Quran teachings and develop societies based upon the teachings of the Quran, whether it's political, whether it's economical, whether it's social, all these kind of different structures that society, civilization bases itself upon is a Quranic society, a society that was Quran inspired. And the third, I would say, is so we have this thing which is like, how can an average person today see the miracle of the Quran? So like I said to you, it depends exactly what we mean by miracle of the Quran. It goes back to the first point that we discussed. So if a person says, okay, it's in the language, most people in the world are not going to be able to access the language of the Quran, so they won't be able to see the miracle. So then does that mean that now the Quran is not going to be a proof for mankind? Or does it mean that it was not meant to be a proof for all of mankind? It was only meant to be a proof for the early generation, the generation in which it was revealed. So in other words, when a message is going to be accepted by a society, the message has to be supported by solid evidence, right, for it to be accepted. Just like, for example, let's say it's a court case and there's a judge, and that judge is not going to accept evidence unless that evidence is a very solid evidence. And once it's accepted, once the court, the judge, he gives his decision and sentence, then everyone after that accepts the court case. Whether they saw the evidence in the case or whether they didn't see the evidence in the case, it doesn't matter, because that was at such a public level that it's unanimous that this case has been done and the evidence has been given, right? And the evidence was categorical. Same with the Quran. So when the Quran was revealed, Prophet ﷺ was saying, I'm a messenger of Allah. But people say, we need proof you're a messenger. So he goes, okay, Allah said this is the Quran. Try to replicate the Quran if you can. And they couldn't. And they realized this was impossible for them to do. And so their only answer was that the Prophet ﷺ was the true messenger. So this is why the Quran does not have to be miraculous in nature, in the eyes of every single human being. It only has to be miraculous. So this is one approach. And the other approach, like I said, if you take the meaning of the miraculous nature of the Quran to be the sciences in the Quran, or the way that the legislation has been legislated in the Quran, or how Allah mentions precise things of history or of universal observations, then obviously everyone can have access to that. So some people have been guided through the Quran because they were linguistic experts, and they were guided simply because they read the Quran and they realized that the Quran speaks a language which is so precise in linguistics that it kind of guided them to Islam. And some people accepted Islam because when they read the Quran, they were amazed by how the Quran discusses the reproductive system. So this is for different sort of people, I would say. So this is why when people say that why is it so hard for a common man? So it's not hard for a common man. Many people will accept Islam through reading an English translation. Yeah, there's many non-Muslims who have accepted Islam through reading English translation. Some have not even touched the Quran and have become amazed at the practice of Muslims or the way that Islamic history was presented, etc. Okay, so randomly has got 5 questions. Okay, so I think all these questions, I won't be able to answer them today because each one of these is a very sort of like a detailed sort of question. I'll do 2 and 3, and then the others I think I'll have to leave till next week. So number 2, Arabic as a language with all its rules got formally formulated after the Quran, right? Then isn't it possible that Arabic rules were set such that only Quran can conform to that? It's easier to set rules fitting the text after got the text in front of you, writing a text according to pre-established rules in it. So I don't understand the question. Arabic as a language with all its rules got formally formulated after the Quran, right? Then isn't it possible that the Quran rules were set such that only Quran can conform to that? It's easier. No. Okay, I think randomly you haven't understood how Arabic grammar was devised. So this kind of question, this is a misunderstanding. That the Arabic language was based around the Quran. It's not based around the Quran. Quran is a primary source of Islam. Remember I told you in the beginning of this live stream, Arabic language up to the year 150 Hijri, after Hijrah migration, is considered to be proof in Arabic language. So you can use it in grammatical rules, whether it was said by a poet or whether it was said by a famous speaker, whether it was said by in some sort of a text. So this is why these kind of different sort of like sources of Arabic grammar. Arabic grammar is such a diverse topic. There are so many madhabs in Arabic grammar, just like there is in fiqh. So this is why this question is based upon a misunderstanding. It's a very superficial understanding of Arabic grammar. So Arabic grammar is something which is a small amount of it is based upon Quran. Vast majority is based upon Arabic language that was spoken before, at the time of Quran, and up to 150. Okay, one last third question. Once I saw a video of a scholar in which he said that alaq in Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq surah means leech, and that scientists too say that an early stage of development of human looks like a leech and clings like leech. I thought of cross-checking what he said in my Quran. I had a Quran with translation from Maulana Ashraf Ali Tanwi. In that it was written that alaq means blood clot or piece of flesh or something. Why that difference? I feel that scholars of different time periods gave the translation which best suits the available scientific knowledge at that time. If tomorrow science says something else about the development of human in womb, then scholars of tomorrow will manage to fit that. Okay, so this is a good question. This is basically about interpretation of Quran. So the question that he's asked is, for example, like in Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, khalaqa al-insana min alaq. And I've talked about alaq in one of my videos when I talk about the in-depth analysis of words of the Quran. And I've gone through like the whole sort of like thing of these ayn, lam, qaf, and I've done a detailed thing in this. So you can check that out. So when, for example, like the Arabs say something, right? Anyone who is reading the Quran is obviously going to be influenced by the society. So if I'm living in a 21st century, my understanding of the world, observation, is going to be based upon what I've learnt in the sciences, right? Biology, mathematics, chemistry, physics, all of this kind of is going to have an influence on me. What I see in the news, what I see on movies and all these things is going to have an influence on me. So when I see things, I will see things through a particular lens, obviously. Now, it's natural for people to obviously have any verse of the Quran and try to, in their society, think how that verse applies to their society. So it wouldn't be wrong if a translator was to translate something and he saw something in his society and he kind of, like, for example, like some people say, nusawwiya banana, that Allah says we will make his fingers all the same. So nowadays they say, oh, it's talking about fingerprints, and because we're living in a society of fingerprints, right? And in the early days it would say fingers like straight instead of them being slightly, up and down. They're kind of like straight. The amazing thing is, I would say, look, if you look at all the translations that the scholars have tried to apply over the years, whether the early scholars said the earth was flat and whether the later scholars said it was round, you will see that the Quran's consistency, it doesn't fall, it doesn't break. In other words, it has such power that it can accommodate for all the possible valid sort of meanings which people understand. That's another amazing thing about the Quran, that you don't find this, like the Quran nowhere in the Quran does they say the earth is round. I did a video on this. Nowhere in the Quran does the Quran say it's flat. Yes, some translators might say flat, right, because of what they were influenced by, and some might say it's round because of the society that they're living in, right? But you will not find in the Quran uses the word round or flat, right? So this is another amazing thing about how the Quran describes things. So anyway, I think that these are just like observations as well that people have. Okay, right. So there are some more Curious Cat ones, but those are random. So the other two I'll have to do next week because they're quite long, and I want to give chance to other people as well to ask their questions. Okay, so let's just check out your questions, guys. Can we listen to a woman Islamic speaker? Yes, why not? Yeah, if you are sexually aroused by listening to her, then no. But generally, yeah, you can listen to her. Can a woman use onion or garlic oil in her hair care routine without washing it off away and keep and makes wudu and so on? Yes, they can. Why not? What is our book review, please? Celebrate 35 followers with shi'r. MashaAllah. Okay, I can't see any crazy ones. I don't see anyone. So I want if there is a sound of urgency, not danger in parents' voice. Want if there is, I don't understand. What's that question? Want if there is a sound of urgency, not in danger in parents' voice. No, according to Hanafis, you can't break the fard. They're probably only allowing Ustad to see them. Okay. When can I become a member of channel? When can I become a member of channel? A member of channel? I mean, subscribe. You want to subscribe? Just press subscribe. If I'm in a taxi and the driver turns the speaker on and puts on music, but I don't pay attention to it, does being in the place music haram? No, it's fine. Even if not paying attention to it, you just happen to be there. No, it's fine. What is the ruling on cartoons in general? Cartoons that show a woman's hair. Also, I hear some scholars quoting Hollywood movies. Is there any room for? Yes, permissible. Yeah, so cartoons would be fine. And these kind of things. I mean, obviously, if it's lust, then no. And movies, there's nothing wrong with quoting movies. Scholars in the past used to quote Shakespeare and used to quote books that were written, pre-Islamic, so Jahili books. They're fine. Yeah. So quoting Hollywood movies, I don't see a problem with it. I know some people are very conservative. I mean, I remember once I gave a Jummah talk in one of my local mosques, which is quite conservative, and I mentioned Netflix, and like people's faces changed as though, astaghfirullah, how can you mention Netflix on the minbar? People mention Iblis on the minbar, bhai. Yeah, the biggest enemy of Allah. People mention Iblis on the minbar. I'm learning the Janazah dua. If I know some of it, would the Janazah prayer? Yes, it will be complete. Do you know of any scholar who has recorded audio tafsir in English of the entire Quran? No, unfortunately, I don't know. Assalamu alaikum. I apologize. What email to? I think Noman Ali Khan has. If you check out his Bayyina. Assalamu alaikum. I apologize. What email to use? Curious Kitten. Okay, the email is basically learning deen. So let me write this down. So it's learning deen at gmail.com. Yeah, that's the email. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. If a person is unconscious and thereafter passes away, does his family have to give fidya for any missed prayer? No, they don't have to. Assalamu alaikum. Are all humanity, Muslims and non-Muslims from Rasulullah's prophethood considered part of the ummah? So yes, so everyone is called an ummah. So the scholars sometimes like refer to ummahs in different things. If you say ummah al-mustajaba, it means the ummah that has responded to the Prophet's message. So we are the ummah that have responded to the message. And if you say ummah ad-da'wah, it means the ummah which is open for invitation to Islam, which is all humanity. What's your favorite cheese? I don't like that Leicester cheese. Yeah, don't like that. That orangey kind of rubbery one. Don't like that. I like stuff like Dairy Lee and all that. I'm not, that what is it called? That kind of one that has mold in there. I like that. I don't know the name of the cheese, so if I sound a bit funny, the moldy cheese and this and that. Do you like mushrooms? Yes, I love mushrooms. Okay, favorite crystal. I like mature cheddar, mozzarella. Favorite brand of butter. Whatever. I don't have favorites, guys. Please look. If people ask me favorites here, I'm gonna just pretend to shoot myself. Yeah, so no favorites for me. I like different things. It depends my mood. It depends what I've eaten. It's a very tough question, man. It's like saying, what's your favorite tea? It depends what I've eaten. Sometimes I eat something and I might like, light tea. I might like desi tea. I might like green tea. It depends. We don't have many different types. Okay, you guys are having a conversation with yourself, yeah? Cheese, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Shaqim. Sheikh, are you from Pakistan or have you born and live in the UK? Your slang have Western slang. I was born in the UK. I born and brought up in the UK. I studied 9 years in Pakistan, Alim course. So yeah, so I'm from the UK. I'm 37 years old, so I've been here basically all my life. I live in many different places. Mashallah. Okay, I'm gonna block you too, I think. So the whole point of making you guys moderators is so that you guys watch out for everyone else, not for you guys start doing your own bayans. And is the coronavirus a punishment sent by Allah because of the Chinese people? Then Allahu alam, Allah knows best. Yeah. Can women show her face in Islam? There's a difference of opinion. Yeah, there's a difference of opinion. Some scholars say yes, some scholars no. Hanafis say the face is not an aura, but if the woman's face is going to cause her to become harassed and problem in her day-to-day sort of duties, then it's better for her to cover it. May Allah accept your dua and bless you with His protections and guidance and always keeps you safe. Ameen. What he means is quoting Hollywood movies means scholars watch them. Is watching Hollywood movies permissible? So when it comes to movies, as long as in the movies there isn't anything which is sort of vile, sexual nature, nudity, then that's fine. I mean, if those parts do come, you just forward it by, put your hands in your eyes. That's one more question. Yeah, so I know there are some scholars who are very, very conservative, and they say absolutely watching TV is totally impermissible because there's going to be a woman there without any scarf on. So this is something which is a difference amongst today's scholars. So I would say, look, if you're going to watch it, then, these kind of parts, you forward them, or, you turn it over, or you don't kind of watch it. Why do some Deobandis say that Allah can lie? Allahu A'lam. Ask them. I think the question that you're asking is not a precise question. So, see, this kind of question is a very, very sort of like sophisticated, academic, like topic. Yeah, it falls under the topic of can Allah do everything? Can Allah create another Allah? Yeah, this is what it's based on. In other words, is Allah bound by the laws that we have within our society? Is Allah bound by those laws? What kind of things can't Allah do? Does Allah not being able to do something mean that Allah is incapable? Does it go against the nature of the... So the same thing with the lie. So, I mean, I think scholars have written on this, yeah, in great detail. So you can Google it, just Google it, check it out. Can women speak in social media and talk about Islam while showing her face? I don't see anything wrong with it. You can apply to verify, so you will earn set amount of money by YouTube. People click join next to the subscribe button and become members. You can have emojis. Okay, I see. I don't think I've done that on my channel. Questions finished now. Okay, what is the best way to learn Arabic vocab? Anything, techniques, if you are by yourself, any good websites? Watch cartoons, watch Arabic cartoons. Best thing. Yeah, Arabic cartoons. And watch my YouTube channel as well. Bro, you don't look 37. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Well, I do, trust me. I do look 37. But yeah, Jazakallah khair. I was going to say, I think you need to go to Specsavers, but MashaAllah. Make me a moderator. I think I need to, bro, Idris. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. Nice to know Sheikh has same here, Pakistani born in Malaysia. I really want to go to Pakistan, see my grandfather place in Peshawar too. But MashaAllah, another Pukhtun, MashaAllah. Da khotul Pukhtana yawzay ki raja mashawidi. What other places do you live in? Why now? Okay. MashaAllah. So it looks like you guys are having a very nice time. Okay, so there's a few questions left on Curious Cat. When making up prayers, does the witr prayer need to be made up from years ago? Yeah, according to Hanafis, yes. If I find madhi being released a short time after I wake up in the morning, do I have to perform ghusl? I'm usually still in bed when I find this being released. No, you don't have to. Can you pray in a hoodie with the hood up without hijab on? Rest of the clothes are loose. Yes, fine. You can wear that. Can you get a box with your haircut? Can you get a box with your haircut? What's that? I don't know. Can you get a box with your haircut? Can you elaborate? A wife thought that she was pregnant because her period was delayed for many days. She did not want to have a baby at all and wanted to have an abortion. Her husband wrote to her over text messages that if she were to get an abortion, she would lose him. He repeated this several times. Then they found out later that she was actually not pregnant. Does this mean that if the wife was to ever get an abortion, that they would be irrevocably divorced? Is there some way to get out of this problem? Yeah, so it depends on the wording he used in it. So if his wording was, if she were to get an abortion, it seems as though he's talking about that particular pregnancy. So if he's talking about that particular pregnancy, according to the Hanafis, it would only apply to that one, right? So because she wasn't pregnant, therefore, it won't apply. So if she does get pregnant in the future and was to have an abortion, it wouldn't apply. But I'm not saying that abortion is allowed or anything. I'm just saying, based upon this oath, or based upon this, what we call a ta'liq, a conditional sentence. So, in my opinion, there wouldn't be any consequences to this because she wasn't, pregnant anyway. Okay, that's all done. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And I still got some tea left as well. See, this is better than clay cups. Better than clay cups. Okay, where's all the Americans, man? Americans, where are you guys? You guys usually turn up at this time. Yeah, you come like about 11 o'clock. You're all like asking your questions now. Okay, so Ultimate Challenger, what is the best way to learn a vocab? I think I answered that one, yeah, Kirsten. What other places? That one. For example, a young girl lives in Muslim countries, so it's important to cover her face like in public place. If country is safe for ladies, Muslim. Yeah. So basically, the rule for the covering of the face is not in the classical text of the Hanafis. In other words, classical texts of Hanafis have said the face and the hands and the feet are not part of the aura. But they have said that if there is a fear of fitna, and fitna is explained in different ways, then that woman should cover up her face as well. Right, so I would say you leave it to yourself. You look at the situation. There might be some societies where it's very difficult for a woman to cover her face. It's very, daunting. It's very scary that she might get Islamophobic comments, abuse, etc. Then for her, obviously, it wouldn't be a good idea to cover her face. And in some societies, it would be fine. People would not harass her. Then in there, it would be, there'd be permissibility. Okay, third one is needed to get the job done. Yeah, that's true. 3. Yeah, 3 is. I thought you were going to say 3 is sunnah. I think he means box cut shape around the hairline using trimmers or razor. Yeah, I mean, like I said, these kind of haircuts, it would be allowed. It doesn't. Qaza, it's not qaza. It would be allowed. Do you think the media are scaremongering with coronavirus, or is it as bad as they make out? I was actually thinking, imagine someone doesn't like China and wants China to really bad, and they've deliberately created this. Imagine that. Some government has created this, spread it, and have got the cure for it, and want to use this as a new sort of like strategy in trying to destroy someone's economy. What's it? Conspiracy theory or conspiracy theory? I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think it is? Let me know. I live in Canada. Canada, mashallah. Ahlan wa sahlan. Assalamu alaikum, Shahnawaz. MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Ahlan wa sahlan. Will there be any surahs in the exams that we have to do tarkeeb of? Yes, there will be plenty. Inshallah, we're going to do all the way up to Surah Zilzal. So from the back, Qul A'udhu Rabbin Nas, Qul A'udhu Falaq, Qul Huwallahu Ahad. I mean, last week we done Tabbat. I don't think you were there. We're going to cover the rest of Tabbat next week, inshallah. Then Idha Ja'a, all the way till Surah Zilzal. Hopefully. Okay, they're probably Saturday night chilling. It's still 5 to 6 p.m. in USA. Okay, mashallah. Oh yeah. Probably like, yeah man, I'm gonna chill out with my soda and my, what do they call crisps? What do you guys call crisps? Chips. I'm gonna have soda and chips and tacos. Yeah. I remember when I went to Pakistan first time, and I go to the guy, I really want chips, man, chips, please, chips. And he took me and bought me crisps. I go, what's this? He goes, this is what we call chips. I go, no, I want the other stuff. You cut potatoes, make it long, and a Google user, ahlan wa sahlan, American, mashallah, nice to meet you. Canada, yeah, okay, Canada's American as well. Chalo. Everyone in Pakistan is really scared because China is our neighbor. I wonder who that could be. It's because it's a little after 6 p.m. I think you are right. Yeah, people are saying that too. It's being engineered. Big chicken. What is the ruling on do not resuscitate, do not intubate orders? I mean, you're going to have to elaborate on that one. I don't understand the question. I have a question on marriage. Yes, Shahnawaz, go for it. What's worst American accent ever? Oh, come on, man. What do you mean the worst American accent? Yeah, man. I'm going to do the whole live stream in American accent, yeah? Shall I do the whole live stream in American accent? So, Americans, this is how we think you guys sound, okay? And I guarantee you, if you guys do the British accent, we are going to laugh at you guys with the British accent. Because I know you guys think we sound different. How strict do we need to be about the ingredients of medicine, assuming they are like tablets, not gel pills? Again, when it comes to medicines, if it medicinal purposes, there's lots of scope for it. So, in other words, if there's a medicine that contains alcohol or it contains ingredients that are haram, and there's no other available medicines, or there's no other medicines that are the same level that you need, then you can take those. If a couple or if two Muslim people want to get married, but the boy or girl's parents don't approve of it, is the sin on the parents? No, not necessarily. No, because it's not fard for them to get married. Yeah, it would only be a sin on them if it was like, for example, girl wants to pray her fajr and parents don't want her to pray and stop her from praying. Then there's sin on the parents, right? But there's no sin on parents because they don't want their child to get married to a person. There's optional. Should we speak while azan? Some scholars say it's okay, but which one is the correct opinion? Yeah, it's fine. You can speak while the azan is going on. It's not a sin. But it's considered to be respectful to listen to the words of the adhan and to repeat after it. Amriki accent, you got to work on it. Yeah, mashallah, mashallah. I know, bro. Don't worry. I know, watch some YouTube, accent learning videos. Do the Trump accent. You gotta look at the motions in it. Aqua, the aqua mask. That was too funny, man. That was too funny. Can a female doctor check male patients? Yes, she can. No chance. DNR upon death. Okay. Oh, do not resuscitate upon death. Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not necessary to bring a person back to. Yeah. It's not considered necessary to bring a person, give them life again. Yeah, so if a person is dying, then it's not necessary. Sheikh, you must be tired after 2 hours. Yes, I am. I'm very tired, guys. But, for you guys, inshallah, I will stay up. It's once a week. Sometimes I look forward to this kind of our gathering. Inshallah, may Allah allow us to have these kind of gatherings in Jannah. Imagine, in Jannah we have these kind of gatherings, yeah? And some of you guys talking about cheese, and some of you guys talking about manhoors, and some of you guys talking about I don't know, some other, godly cartoons. Okay, is a female allowed to live in a flat on her own and rent or buy, meaning move out from her parents' home? Yes, it's permissible, it's allowed. When you go, see, the thing is, a woman being away from her family is not a sin. The only ruling where this would be an issue would be the traveling issue, because the traveling might be dangerous for her. Yeah, that's why the Prophet ﷺ had a ruling regarding traveling, because she's going very far and she's going to expose herself to all the elements and all sorts of things can happen to her. But in a society where there's flats and things, I think she should be safe and fine. When you go to the hospital, you can tell them do not resuscitate or do not intubate, meaning do not try to fix my heart, etc. Just let me pass away and don't keep my breathing alive through. Yeah, it's possible. Okay, there wouldn't be a problem with that, because yeah, there'd be scope for that. I mean, actually, you know what? Think about it. There might be different scenarios for it. I'll have to look this one up, but I'm just thinking to myself, generally, in the days of Sahaba, they wouldn't really have the means of keeping someone alive in that way. Yeah. Actually, I'll have to look at that one up. Yeah, so take my first answer back. I'll have to look that one up. I know that Darul Uloom Karachi, they're given a fatwa that if a person's on life support machine, and do they have to keep that life support machine on? Like if the doctor say, look, we can't keep running it for longer, then they can turn it off. Yeah, they give permission to turn it off. So I think there is, I'm inclined towards that you don't have to resuscitate them. But if it's something which is not to do with resuscitation, which is they're dying, but you can save their life, as in you can stop them dying or going in a state where they're no longer independently living, then you have to keep them alive. As in, can we prolong life? Is it permissible to have a DNR upon death? Okay, Aqua Mosque, that's classic. May Allah bless you immensely. I want to learn Arabic, but I don't know how to start. Please suggest. Yes, you can learn Arabic, and if you actually contact us on Roots of Knowledge, you can easily start, inshallah. You can learn. I don't know how much Arabic you know, but inshallah, we can help you out with that. So if you contact us, inshallah. So if you go to our Roots of Knowledge website, Uruk, or if you go to, Facebook, Roots of Knowledge, Facebook, or Roots of Knowledge Twitter, or Roots of Knowledge Instagram, I'll put the links in the video description later. I have heard from a sheikh that if a boy or girl tells their parents that they want to get married, but the parents don't approve of it, the sin is on them because parents should or cannot block marriage. Allah Alam, I don't know. What was his evidence? Do you know what his evidence was? Do you do counseling? No, I don't. I'm not trained in counseling. Allah, I don't know how to do it. Can you explain what's mansoob and marfu? I'm doing your homework, need help. Mansoob simply means in the fatha state, and marfu means in the dhamma state. Yeah, so fatha state objects are mansoob and subjects, fa'ils, are marfu. Have you ever sold anything on Depop? Never even heard of that word. Depop. It sounds like something someone does in the toilet after a few days. Marfu, word, the rafa status. Favorite supermarket? I don't know. I think I like, depends. I think it's difficult to say, you know. Tesco is good, it's nice, spacious, you know, you don't have to stand in long queues and all that. Got a lot of variety. Aldi's is good because vegetables and fruit are very fresh. And there's less variety, maybe that's better as well. But it's got long queues. Asda, forget that, you know everyone there. Every second person you meet, you kind of know them. If your grammar is beginner level, then marfu sounds Alhamdulillah. Answered all the questions, guys. So let's look at a book now. So let's look at book for today. What is the book for today? Okay, so this is actually not my book. I'm supposed to give it back. But I did an Arud course, Ilm al-Arud course, a few years ago on my YouTube channel. Not YouTube channel, it's on my Uruk website. So it's a whole Ilm al-Arud. It's basically to do with poetry, kind of like rhythms. So behind all Arabic poetry, classical poetry, there's like a rhythm behind it. There's sort of like a pattern, meters they call them. So these meters that you have, they're called Ilm al-Arud, right? So this is a very good book for that. It's a very recently written book by a scholar in Pakistan, Faidur Rahman Uthmani in Islamabad, right? So he basically wrote this, and it's a very modern book, and he comes to England, I think every few years, and he does like a short course on Ilm al-Arud. So he's done like all these tables and everything. So I've gone through this entire book. I borrowed it from someone. I've gone through the entire book, and I actually designed my own Ilm al-Arud course. So it's a really good sort of like book for people who want to learn this science. And this science was basically developed by a famous guy called Imam Khalil bin Ahmad. Khalil bin Ahmad was one of the teachers of Imam Sibawayh, and he was in the time of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, and he was from Yemen, and he was very intelligent, and he saw you know, this kind of like Arabic poetry had rhythms behind it, but no one had codified them. So what he did, for the first time, he began to codify these, right? So for example, like قفا نبكي من ذكرى حبيب ومنزلي بسقط اللواء بين الدخول فحوملي. This is a famous like poem of Imr al-Qais, pre-Islamic poet, but the poem actually follows a particular pattern. Yeah, فعول مفاعيل فعول مفاعل فعول مفاعيل فعول مفاعل قفا نبكي قفا نبكي من ذكرى حبيب ومنزلي فتودح فالمقرى فتودح فالمقرات لم يعفر اسمها. That's the next point. So قفا نبكي من ذكرى حبيب ومنزلي بسقة اللواء بين الدخول فحوملي. So this is basically a pattern. There's a pattern. So if any of you guys, I mean, I don't know if you guys have studied this with me, I try to sing it in a particular form. Yeah, so I sing it in this particular form. And our teacher used to do this. So some of our students, one of our teachers who taught us this science, his name was well, he didn't study all from him, but he would kind of give us little lessons in there. Sheikh Abdul Rauf Halejwi, who was like in his 80s, I don't know if he's still alive, in his late 80s. He was from Sindh, he was Sindhi. And he, in class, he used to, like every time in Sharh Aqaid and Nasafiyah, he would come across like a a poem, he would sing it in this form. So he said to some students, he goes, does anyone know a good tune to sing it in? Because you have to sing it in a tune. So there were some students, and what they done in them days, Bollywood songs, they sang it in a Bollywood song, and the whole class kind of laughed because they knew this is a famous song, but he didn't know the song. Yeah. So he goes, yeah, this sounds a very nice tune, this does. I think it was like Tujhe Dekha. Yeah. So it was like كيف نبكي من ذكرى حبيب ومنزلي بثقة اللواء بين الدخول فحوملي. Yeah, so he goes, that's an excellent tune, that's a very good tune to sing this poem on. So yeah, anyway, so that's basically and this is an excellent teacher we used to have, and he used to love chatting with the students. You're very intelligent. Yeah. And so sometimes we used to bring him like paratha from the shop, lassi, so love lassi. And then we would kind of like sit with him and we'd ask him things like politics. Like, what do you think about Musharraf? Because in them days it was Musharraf. What do you think of Musharraf? And what do you think of this guy? And what do you think? And he would like come out with his own like kind of views. He would come out with his own views, and it's so funny, the kind of stuff. He was very witty, very sharp. He was old, but very sharp. He knew exactly what's going on. But yeah. So that's guys. Yeah, so look at that. You got poem from me, you got a book from me, and you got Tujhe Dekha from me. What else can you want? Huh? What else can you want on a Saturday? Yeah, at 11:30 at night. Americans, yeah. You guys thought my American was messed up. I'm a good singer, yeah? Allah, mashallah. Okay, so if I start to become a famous singer, yeah, and I give up all this YouTube, and I become a famous singer and I'm singing all these kind of Bollywood songs, yeah, don't start saying that, please come back and start this Saturday thing again. And okay, I love to talk about Islam so I can make videos on social media and my face is not covered but wearing hijab and abaya. MashaAllah, may Allah put barakah in your time and efforts. Morrison's and M&S are tastier. Okay. Mufti Saab, let help with the favorite question. The first thing comes to your mind as soon as that question is asked is your favorite thing. Can you make dua for me? May Allah make things easy for you, brother. And dua for me too, please. May Allah make things for you too, MP. Daimi Hussein, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, ahlan wa sahlan. How many years maximum to learn Arabic? You can do as fast as, can you read the Quran? Can you read like the Quran? I am sure he makes dua for all his students. Yes, I do. Seriously. Sometimes I sit there and I'm making dua and I think of your names, or if I know you personally, I make dua for you. And I say, Allah, if I missed anyone out, Ya Allah, whoever in my, my YouTube, I know. See, the more I know you guys, the more we start to have a connection. The more I understand, the more you kind of know about me. If some of you guys just see me on my YouTube videos, you probably might have a different image of me. But when you guys interact with me and you ask questions, you kind of build a profile. So we kind of have this kind of connection as well. Fuse. Oh, that's the word, yeah. So the fuse, guys, the fuse. In the light you have the fuse. Yeah, the fuse is getting into you. Go on X Factor, yeah. Say it. What's that guy's name? What's that rude guy's name? Simon Cowell, yeah. Simon Cowell. Ramadan plans is to fast and Taraweeh, man. Fast and Taraweeh. Do fast Taraweeh. Yeah, maybe that's why people do fast Taraweehs. Yeah, because they got messed up when people told them in Ramadan you should fast and Taraweeh, and they forgot the and they thought fast Taraweeh. Yeah, they did ijtihad there. Okay, so anyway, Jazakallah khair, guys. I think I've done for MashaAllah. So yeah, if you contact us, contact on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, inshallah. One of the TAs should get back to you, inshallah. Amriki and Brit Sarf Nahu past tense verbs. You will also find some differences with the past forms, irregular forms, the past tense learn. American English is learned. Brits say learnt. Yeah. I sometimes you can't even tell. Color, learned, all these kind of words. Center. Yeah. Is it that? What is it called? Web Merriam and Web's dictionary. I make dua for the teachers of Islam very regularly. Ameen, ameen. Jazakallah khair, aman. Simon Cowell's face looks really strange now. Looks like he has bare plastic surgery. Yeah, I know. This is what happens with these people. So you're going to see me after 10 years and my face is going to probably look like this. Imagine that. Like, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this. Welcome to the video. My name is. I've got to change my name as well because Liaquat Zaman doesn't sound very celebrity, isn't it? So I've got to kind of Laqwa Z. What name do you guys think I should get if I become a celebrity? Yeah, what kind of name should I have? It's got to still have an element of Liaquat Zaman in there, but what kind of name do you guys think? Yes, definitely Idris, definitely. Inshallah. Oh, series in Ramadan. Yeah, actually, it's a good idea. I should plan it from now, shouldn't I? What kind of series do you guys think should be useful in Ramadan? Jazakallah khair, S. Hussein, Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward you. May Allah reward all of you guys. Yeah. May Allah save us from plastic surgery. Yeah, Ameen. Jazakumullah khair. Okay, another book that I've been reading recently. So basically, I teach Nukhbat al-Fikr, right? So I teach like full-time alim course. And as I'm teaching full-time alim course, I teach Usul Hadith, so Nukhbat al-Fikr. And in Nukhbat al-Fikr, I teach in a slightly different way. I teach it in the way that one of my teachers, Sheikh, because I study it from two teachers. I studied it from Sheikh Abdul Rauf Ghaznavi, and I also studied it from Sheikh Abdul Halim Chisti, in Pakistan. So I kind of like, what we do is kind of we look at different books and we kind of study it, and we critically look at Imam Ibn Hajar's statements and things that he says and how others have criticized it. So it's not simply just studying Usul Hadith, it's at like a slightly advanced level. So when I kind of teach Usul Hadith has like 10 steps. So the first level, the first 3 steps, we cover it in Usul of my own notes when I teach it. And then after that, we go into Nukhbat al-Fikr, which is like step 4 and 5, and maybe 6. And then we go into the next 7, 8, we go into Muqaddim al-Salah. And then the rest steps we don't really cover, but there are kind of books that I recommend students, and we go through chains and takhrij and these kind of things. So this is a good book for that as well. Qawaid fi Ulum al-Hadith, a very good book. It kind of talks about like very sort of like complex discussions. It kind of brings out some good points. So I've been reading that past few days, certain sections of it. Okay, so what kind of names? Likzi. Yeah, Likzi sounds, actually that's good, Likzi. But it sounds like, Likzi sounds like I have to have like a weird haircut and I have to wear like Lady Gaga clothes. Yeah, and I don't think I'd be able to do that. Zaman's good. Zaman. Yeah, actually that's good, Zaman. Yeah, but then that, I don't know, Zaman, I sound like some sort of transgender sort of rapper. Nah. Liazi. Sound a bit French. Sound a bit Frenchy. As in the man. Yeah, the man is a good one. Meaning of Salah. Salah. You mean Muhammad Salah? Laziz. Ziza. Okay, I think you guys are now taking the mic now. Right. I think Kati should get a real name first. Kati, yeah. So basically, Kati's probably messed up, to tell you. I think Kati's got some next level mental problems. Yeah, you know what she does now? So the food basically is in these packets. Those kind of foil packets you get, and in a big box. And you rip open one and you give it. she's found that box. So you know what she does? She's found a way of taking the packets out, hiding somewhere, ripping them open with her claws, and she eats all the contents. And then she like legs it. God, crazy. How are you gonna stop her now? Her name is Katina, and everyone please request Muhtasab to let her come for just 2 minutes to say hi. Well, I can't now because she's not kind of sleeping, and then once she gets up, she goes crazy. But maybe next time. Do you teach comparative fiqh between the madhabs? Yes, kind of. Yeah, we cover it. We don't go into too much detail, but we do cover in many of the masail. Yes, we would like to see celebrity Kati meaning of Salah course in Ramadan. Oh, meaning of Salah course in Ramadan. Meaning of Salah. Maybe. Might be a good idea. Louisa. Hey man, are you talking about Louisa? Sounds like a proper like New York kind of. Zamanum zamande. Zamanum zamande. Allahu Akbar. And what is zaman backwards? What is zaman backwards? Guess what? I used to have friends in school and they never used to cuss my name. So they were cussing my name. They're cussing my name. And one guy goes, oh, don't cuss his name. And they go, why? What's zaman backwards? They go, namaz. That's it. His name means namaz backwards. You shouldn't cuss his name. So mashallah, I got saved in school from having my name, made a mock of, because my second name backwards spells namaz. Look at that. Look at that, guys. You look like you need some sleep. You need sleep. Namaz. Anyway, okay. So it's getting a bit late. When it gets a bit late, I get a bit crazy. Yeah, so Jazakallah khair, guys. So inshallah, I will see you guys next time. And inshallah, have your questions ready. And I will answer Brother Randomly's questions, the rest of his questions, inshallah, as best as I can. Next time, inshallah. And if you haven't liked this video, like it and share it as well. And okay, last question. Who is here for the first time? Who is here for the first time? Yeah, put in the comments if you're here for the first time. It's your first time you're on this. And if you're from America as well, tell us which part of America you're from. And I'm gonna try to learn the accent. So you tell me which part of America you're from. Inshallah, next week I'm gonna learn the accent of that place. And I will try to speak that. Yeah. Tell me. The accent. Inshallah. I will take some rest, inshallah. But yeah. So let me know, inshallah, and that's it. I think all the questions on here are done. Actually, I think I worked out that curious questions were about 50 something questions. 50 something is okay. Jazakallah khair. Toronto, Allah, mashallah, ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan Toronto. Canada, mashallah. New Orleans, alright. North America, Texas, MP. What? Hey, excuse me, MP. You can't like kind of be from like million places. Just be from one place. Like Musafir. Kinda is not America. Kinda is America, inshallah. We call everyone America. Everyone's got that kind of strange accent. We call them Americans. Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. Jersey with a Z. Jersey. Please do it funny. It's funny. Please do it. What accent shall I do? Which place? I'll finish off in an accent. Tennessee, Texas is in North America. Missouri, Las Vegas. What is the minimum number of people needed to start a congregation prayer? According to Hanafis, 2 people, Imam and 1 follower. Canada is in North America. Florida, New York. Oh, mashallah, MP, thank you for becoming the geography teacher, American geography teacher for Saturday. What part of Texas? I'm thinking of going Austin. I just made them all up from there. Mexican, Australian, do Australian. Howdy, mate. I'm Australian. I'm from Sydney. I like watching Neighbours and Home and Away. That's messed up. Even I know that's messed up. Yeah. Even I know that's messed up. Shrimps on the barbie. What time would you read Surah Al-Kahf on Jummah Day? Would it be Thursday night or Friday? I would read it Friday, but you can read it Thursday night. France, Jad Case, excellent. Ahlan wa sahlan, Jad. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Ahlan wa sahlan, bonjour. Ça va, très bien. Merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle Liaqad Zaman. Comment t'appelles-tu? Zad. Zad's a good one. Zad. Yeah, Zad's a good one. I'm from New Jersey. Okay, that's it, guys. Enough entertainment for today. Yeah. Alright, guys. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for everyone's participation. May Allah bless all of you guys. May Allah keep all of you safe and protect your families and protect your health. And if you've got any problems going on at home, people do go through problems. Yeah. Oh, I did say, remember last week, I'm going to go through those 59 different types of shaheed that I mentioned. Forgot that one. You guys didn't remind me, man. Yeah, so I think it's this mulati tea, you know. It's licorice tea. I think, you know what? Basically, look. This is the wood. So, this is the piece of wood. This one guy, when I was teaching, he thought I was cooking miswak. It doesn't taste that much, but normally it kind of has a very strong taste. Next time, inshallah, I'll do it. Next time. Can you pray behind someone that does mas on the socks? Yes, you can. Surah Lahu, Thursday night, I was told it was Sunnah. Surah Lahu. Make me MP and I will remind you. Hi of chai. This was my idea too. Yeah, true. Why now? Very true. Licorice tea made you, definitely. And that's why I make loads of dua for you. Why now? Let's save it for next session. Allahumma ameen. Yeah, so like I was saying, look, there's people here, I know you guys, there's people amongst you who are going through problems in life. Financial problems, problems in, with their children, problems in the marriage, problems at work, problems, in so many different ways. Connection with Allah as well. Problems in your salat, problems in remembering Allah. We all have to remember, look, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We try our best in this dunya. Whatever problem we have, we always remember there were people that came before us and there will be people that will come after us. And the people that came before us, they tried their best, they went through difficulties, and they've done what they could. So, we pray to Allah, we ask Allah for help, and we support one another. That's the main thing. This is what life is all about. Ta'awunu al-birri wa taqwa. We support one another in good deeds, good actions. And alhamdulillah, as long as we're doing this, and if we leave this world in that state, this is the main thing. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our actions and give us strength to be able to carry on. Jazakumullah khair, and I will see you guys all next times. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.